Everybody, welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast, your source for video game news, commentary, analysis, and funny stuff. I'm your host, Andrea Renee, joined once again by Miss Alexa Ray.
Hello, I escaped the blizzard.
Yes, you made it out before the bomb cyclone.
Well, no, I was stuck there during it.
Oh, you lived through the
that's
bomb
why
cyclone?
I was late getting back.
Yep. Well, we're gonna have to hear all about it, but first, Miss Brittney Brombacher is also here.
Hello.
And Miss Christine Steimer.
Howdy.
The gang is back together
Just
again.
got off the farm. I don't know why I said that.
Just got off the farm. Literally.
So what was it like living in the bomb cyclone?
It was really cold and I was really sad. It was very cold. It got down to Thursday. So the snow hit on Thursday and my flight was canceled and pushed out like 3 days. It was -5 degrees.
Yikes.
Oh.
So we got where I was, I'm from Connecticut. We got about a foot of snow, and then it froze overnight. So we had a thin sheet of ice on top of the snow. So when I went outside the next day to help my parents and my brothers like dig through it, you had to crack through like the ice shell and then get to the snow underneath to move it. And because we live in the woods, like literally in the forest, it was dead silent. It was just completely silent.
Sort of creepy.
White.
Yeah.
Like nothing. Like I walked outside.
Just
and
the
it
sound
was
of crunching, like crunching snow.
Yeah.
I love that though.
And it was just wind. Like before we started digging, I was standing outside and it was just the wind in the trees and the occasional like snowfall off a tree, just dead silent.
It's so great there. I remember living in North Dakota, we would have these really amazing storms too. And there would be times when I would be out late and I would be on my way home and it was like midnight or something and it would be snowing. And I would just like stop outside my house before going in and just like take it all in because it's just like so quiet and like so pretty and like just like you have those moments in the winter. I don't know. Is that weird? Am I weird?
It was very peaceful.
No. I love that stuff too. And in Western Washington, we used to get a lot more snow, and we're lucky this year. I mean, we're lucky lately if we get like a few inches of snow every year. So I miss those days
We
a
got
lot.
snow on Christmas this year.
We did, and that was incredible. And it lasted a few days, and then it was gone. So I don't know if we'll get any more. But I'm talking about like the 6 inches of snow that you get, and you're like everyone, like the whole town shuts down, and you're just like snuggled inside your house. Like those are the best.
Yeah, that happened on Christmas Eve in Chicago where we were spending the holidays. It snowed on Christmas Eve, which was really nice. And so we watched White Christmas.
Oh,
Yes.
Classic.
The best movie.
I had no idea it was so good. I mean, you hear people talk about some of those old classic movies, but I'm more of like a Home Alone Christmas movie kind of person. But it was really,
I'm a
really
White
good.
Christmas all the way.
No, I loved it. It's going to be part of the new tradition. Every Christmas Eve, we will now watch White Christmas.
We're going to swoon over Rosemary Clooney's wardrobe because holy shit, all of her dresses.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Those red ball gowns they wear at the end of the movie in like that big number, I was just like drooling. I was like, I need that in my wardrobe. I have no idea where I'm going to wear that thing, but I want it.
Right around the house.
In college.
You're an
in
adult.
college, like, me and my roommate who we would watch White Christmas together, we said, I was like, I'm going to get married one day and I'm going to get married in the snow in that dress. It will never happen.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
But that's how much we love those dresses.
yeah, those are pretty great.
It could happen someday, Steimer. You just got to find the right tailor. That's all.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
All right, ladies and
Like,
gentlemen,
you want
it's
what?
time. It's time to talk about the reason we're all here: video games.
Video games.
If you guys weren't following us on Twitter at what'sgood_games, first off, we would love it if you would. Brittney does a fantastic job of running that account. I sneak in there every once in a while when she's busy, which is not very often. I mean, when she's not busy with the business. You know what I mean. Anyway, my point is, I see the face you're making, that we announced that we have a special piece of limited edition merch
Oh my God.
available. Brittney, do you want to talk about this since this is your masterpiece?
Well, first of all, it is called the Sealbando. Sorry, #Sealbando. And good. Thank you to our friend hashtagonist for creating this amazing logo. And it is a heart with the outline of a seal in the middle of it, and you can get it at our store, which is what, Andrea? What's our URL? Because I forgot.
It's teespring.com/Sealbando shirts for that
There we
shirt
go. Thank you.
specifically. But if you want to get to where all of our merchandise is, including our salty emoji shirt and our What's Good logo apparel, you can go to teespring.com/stores/What's Good Games. And that way you can see all of the offerings that we have. But it's really neat. It's cute. We have both a men's and a women's style. I would say they run pretty true to size, if not a little big for the ladies stuff. But I think I'm going to have to order it in a couple different colors. But it's pretty
You
cute.
have to. They're so
wait.
cute.
You should wear one every day of the week.
And if you're just an animal lover or a seal lover, people will never know. It's just a good shirt with shows affection for seals.
Yeah, well, somebody reached out to us on Twitter and said that she has a bunch of zookeeper friends that would be really interested in that shirt.
Oh my God, yes, dude.
And so I looked at her
Amazing.
profile and I was like, how does one have a bunch of zookeeper friends? And
Dude,
it turns
you
out she
also a
works at a
zookeeper?
zoo. Yeah.
I imagine
Okay.
it's something kind of like us. Like it's us with like the video game people. I imagine zookeepers have like their own like zookeeper conventions and stuff. So
I want to go. I want to be friends
Right?
with these people.
You
How
can't
do
go.
I be
You're not a
friends with the LA
zookeeper.
zookeepers? Please, someone let me know.
Well, I mean, she's got experience wrangling reptiles. So, I mean, she could fit in.
We would get along great.
I can't look at a seal video now without thinking
No,
of
me
you,
neither.
Andrea. There's a really great one on Facebook recently where they subtitled what the seal was saying, and it sounded like he was saying egg. So he's like egg, but and I'm just like thinking of Andrea as I'm watching this seal like flop around on the egg.
Well, I'm glad that forever now, whenever anyone who listens or watches this show sees a seal, they'll
you.
think of Dr. Sean Chongli.
For ruin.
I know. Speaking of which, if you guys ever wanted to find out about Steimer's job as a reptile wrangler and our first jobs, you can go on over and become a patron. It is a Patreon exclusive secret segment where we talked about some of our first jobs, and it was a really fun episode. If you guys are interested, that's patreon.com/what'sgoodgames. Just throwing that out there. But I think it's time that we get to some news. Now, I have quite a few pieces of news on here. We don't need to necessarily talk about them all, but we're gonna touch on some of these. So the first one is Sea of Thieves, the Xbox One and PC exclusive, is going to get a closed beta. So according to GameSpot, following a technical alpha in December, developer Rare has announced the dates for its Sea of Thieves closed beta, which is scheduled to take place later this month. The closed beta will begin at 4 a.m. Pacific time on January 24th and runs until 12 a.m. Pacific time, midnight, on January 29th. Players who either join the Sea of Thieves Insider program prior to December 1st or have pre-ordered the title will be able to access the beta, and Rare says that it isn't a sample of the full game, but a tailored experience that offers a true taste of the pirate life. If you pre-ordered Sea of Thieves digitally from the Xbox store, the beta will automatically appear in your game library 24 hours before it begins. If you reserve the game at retail, you first need to redeem the code you received for the Black Dog Cosmetic Pack. Once you've done that, the beta will then likewise appear in your library the day before it starts. So, ladies,
Arr.
I feel like
Arr,
we need
you really
to
to be a pirate.
we need to maybe hit up some people and see if we can get into this thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm in the beta because I played it late last summer. God, that sounds so weird to say late last summer, like that was 2017. Anyway,
In the closed alpha?
yeah, in the closed alpha, and I couldn't talk about it. But so we had so much fun playing this. That was at E3, right?
That was
Yeah, that was
E3.
at
E3.
Yeah, we had so much.
fired me into the ocean.
God, I was crying from laughing so hard. We had a really great time, but when I played the alpha, I had a few concerns. One of the big ones was that I didn't like having to play with other people. Because Jason and I both got into the alpha, so I just wanted to play with him, but it pairs you with other people. And the other thing was,
Like to fill out a squad? Is that what you mean?
a squad, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
And this
Thank
is
you.
squads of 4, correct?
I don't know if it was squads of 4 at the time. I want to say I was only paired with like an extra person, so that would make 3. But this was a while ago.
But all 4 of us got to play together at E3, right?
At E3 was 4.
It was 4, so it could have been, and the other person was like kind of MIA. Who knows? Maybe they're out drowning in the water. I don't know. The other issue was I wanted to explore this world, and I feel like I couldn't go anywhere without another ship coming by and blasting me into oblivion. Which is, I guess that's part of it. But I feel like if Rare really is building like this really cool like world, I just want to be able to get lost in it and take my time and have fun with it and not worry about getting blown to smithereens.
Right. Well,
other than that, though, I really want this game to succeed because I had a lot of fun with it with you ladies when we played.
Yeah, that was something that I remember from our playthrough at E3 was that we were off on an adventure trying to find this specific piece of treasure, and we were all like running around together. And while we were on an island, an enemy team came by and sunk our ship while we weren't guarding it.
Yep.
So like this idea that you have to like leave somebody behind to watch the ship, I was like a little bit annoyed at. I was like, well, that kind of takes the fun out of going on an adventure together.
right.
But
I don't even know if
promise
somebody
of it.
staying behind would have helped. Like, what is one person going
Yeah.
to fend off an entire ship of people? I don't think so.
Because if the ship is hit, then you have to go underneath and like repair the holes like in the water coming
bail
in.
out the water.
I hear
Well,
you.
if there had been one person left behind, they would have been able to spot the other ship approaching, and they could have gotten into chat, right? And said like, "Hey, everybody, like a ship's coming. Come back to the boat and help me defend." That may have been an option.
But also, like,
That's fair.
like my big worry with this game is that it's going to be like everyone just being an asshole. Like my concern is that this game's going to start and it's going to be people teaming up and just beating up on other people. And there's this whole big world to explore. Like they sunk our ship while the 4 of us were on an island trying to follow a map. And we were trying to find a treasure. So we were doing something, and then people came along and kind of like ruined the whole thing. So Brittney, I'm kind of with you on this. Like I hope there's an option where like, or at least I hope everyone playing it isn't an asshole, or at least Rare has implemented some sort of incentive for not being the crew that goes around sinking everyone's ship and blasting them to smithereens. Like there has to be more than that.
thing to do.
I know, but not like all the time. Like I really like a lot of the other stuff like in this world and what I've seen, and I hope there's more. Like there's funny stuff like the bananas and following the treasure map and fighting the skeletons, but
Getting drunk.
like that's all really, really cool. But if you're constantly worried about other players coming in and like smashing up all your shit, like that's a really that's like anxiety triggering for me, and that's probably what would make me want to put this game down. So I hope that's not it.
It's going to depend on how easy it is. Like when you guys were worried about the ship sinking, I was like, forget about it, leave the ship, because I feel like it needs to be easy for you to like repair it and get it back up and running, right?
But when
like,
it's at the bottom of the ocean,
otherwise, that would be it would be like the world's most annoying game.
Yeah, I think it is easy to fast travel out of there. I think it's just more the idea if you're in the middle of the ocean, like trying to get to your destination, and then you get blown apart. But it's kind of a worrying that, again, I want this game to succeed, but we're a couple months out of launch. We really don't know a heck of a lot about it. I'm sure if we were to go online and read or watch all the developer diaries, we would learn a lot more about this game. But I mean, in a game like this, it's so niche and so different. I feel like you can't expect the people to come to your marketing materials, your developer diaries. You got to push that information out there. Like, I want to know, is there a campaign? Can I do PvE, or is it only like PvP? Are there quests? Or is there a leveling up system? Like, what's the point? And I feel like we should know that information by now, but we'll see.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm curious about the beta, and especially since it's like a tailored beta. I'm like, all right, what does that mean?
I feel
We'll figure
like
it out.
Most betas are tailored experiences. It almost feels like they're going out of their way to like manage expectations before the closed beta begins, and I'm trying to figure out why that would be. I think we'll find out. It would all become clear once the beta begins, which is in just a couple of weeks. So I guess we'll have to try it out and see what the deal is.
Let's do it.
Next up, GTA Online broke a record 4 years after their launch. So this story was coming from IGN. According to Rockstar, December 2017 saw more players in GTA Online than ever before, although an official player count was not released. Back in November, it was announced that GTA 5 sold in 85 million copies and is currently one of the best-selling video games of all time, ranking #1 in the United States according to NPD. The late surge is down to December's Doomsday Heist update, which added a 3-act story to the online mode, with each act focusing on a large heist mission. The update included items from Red Dead Redemption 2, including a revolver that once unlocked in GTA will reward players with an alternate version in Red Dead Redemption 2, most likely in its online multiplayer mode. Given the massive success of both GTA 5 and GTA Online, it's no wonder Rockstar is bringing an online mode to Red Dead Redemption 2 when the game launches later this year. It's previously said the game will be an epic tale of life in America's unforgiving heartland. The game's vast and atmospheric world will also provide the foundation for a brand new online multiplayer experience. So,
Yeah.
It's weird that they're making it sound like Red Dead Redemption didn't have an online mode when it did.
no, I think what they're saying is that it's going to be expanded from what was available in Red Dead Redemption, right? So they're going to model it off of what they were doing in GTA Online and really making it more of like an interactive playground is what it sounds like. Not to say that, you know,
that's
like
cool.
you said, that there wasn't something available, but clearly the technology is so much more advanced today than when Red Dead was originally released.
Did you ever make up your own games in Red Dead Redemption Online?
No, I never played it.
Oh my god!
I mean, I played Red Dead, but I didn't.
I
do
played
the
it for
online
like 2
portion.
seconds.
I played a little online.
My brother and I made up this game where when he was really small and shouldn't have been playing Red Dead Online when he did, because he's 20 now. Do the math. Where you'd find a bridge and then you'd have two players opposite on the bridge on horses, and then they'd ride the horses to the center of the bridge, and you'd have try to knock the other person and their horse off the bridge first before you met in the middle, and then if you met in the middle, you had to like crash and fight it out. We called them horse wars.
That was awesome. Horse
Like,
wars.
were you throwing things? How are you trying to knock them off the bridge?
Throwing things, shooting them, running into them.
So just murder. It's like murder joust.
Horse murder. The horse games, we called them. The horse games. Horse
I'm
wars.
really looking forward to this. It was just a couple years ago, I want to say, that I tried to fire up the Red Dead Redemption online servers to play online with some people. And it was really buggy, but it worked. And it was really fun. I love that Western atmosphere. And obviously, GTA 5 is so freaking successful with their online multiplayer mode. I can only imagine what they're going to have for Red Dead. And I'm really excited. Really excited, guys.
I wonder if Red Dead will be able to garner the same amount of enthusiasm for its online multiplayer as GTA. Not because it's not going to be as comprehensive or as well built of a game environment, but just because of the differences in them and the style and how one is very modern,
Western.
right? And one is like, you're on a horse. I wonder.
Yay.
I wonder.
Yeah,
which
it's
one's going to be more
not gonna draw
popular.
like the car people.
Wait,
Right?
car
Sorry, I'm
people.
gonna choke a little bit.
The car.
Oh,
people.
I know
yeah,
it's
because
emotional.
in my
there's no
throat.
vehicles,
I know it's
right?
emotional.
Well, there's
Steimer.
horses. Can't you have like Grand Theft Horse? Grand Theft Horsey?
Were you still
Yeah,
people's
it was more
horses?
like-
Yeah.
You're not like modding the horses. You're not gonna like. paint
Maybe you
them
can
different
mod
colors.
the horse. Trick out the
Oh
saddle.
my god! Check out my
dye
sick
its
grill on my
mane,
horse.
Put a grill on it.
They really just need to have a
horseshoes,
horse that's on fire and we'll be okay.
The abyssal horse.
Yeah, right?
Oh, there 100% will be some. I think there was
They're
an
better.
apocalypse horse in Red Dead.
The apocalypse
Oh,
horse.
good.
Or maybe I'm making that up, but yeah.
Well,
Customize
we're
your
certainly
horse.
looking forward to checking out more of that game. Haven't seen really anything
No.
other than a couple short trailers.
Just that horsey, man. Horsey and some guns.
But
That's a good horsey.
it's good.
but
It's
yeah.
good horsey.
hopefully soon. Fingers crossed.
Speaking of things we've never heard almost nothing about.
Great segue, Steimer. CD Projekt Red's CyberPunk 2077 shows proof of life. I
Beep, beep.
found this story over on Polygon. So it's been nearly 6 years since CD Projekt Red announced it was working on CyberPunk 2077, and exactly 5 years since the Witcher series developer revealed the game's first trailer. So that's 2013 is when we saw the last trailer for this game, folks. Understandably, fans of the studio's games and promise of a massive open world are hungry for information. So, of course, everyone freaked out. So why did they freak out about? A tweet. One single tweet from the Cyberpunk game Twitter account, and it literally just said beep.
Because it's been like 4 years, hasn't it?
They haven't tweeted in 5 years.
Yeah, like
Yeah. It's
Ah!
crazy.
it's happening.
So just as a refresher, The project is a story-based RPG experience with single-player playthroughs, but we're going to add multiplayer features, they've said. It will also be open-world sandbox-style game set in a corrupt and tech-advanced world, and the game's stated goal is to give players the freedom to explore the locations of Night City on their own terms. CDPR has promised advanced RPG mechanics based on the pen-and-paper role-playing game upgraded to match the 2077 setting. The game's setting, Night City, has been described as a diverse metropolis populated with people who speak languages from around the world, and it's considering CD Projekt Red is considering recording every character's voice in their native tongue, and the player might have to buy a translation implant in order to understand them. The quality of the translations will, of course, depend on the quality of the implant, which is kind of an interesting idea. But
It is.
remember, all of these ideas were, the last we heard of them was in 2013. So
Forever and ever
the game
ago.
could be completely different now.
Oh my god.
This is great. I think this means maybe we'll get something at maybe a trailer or something at GDC, the Game Developers Conference, which is happening here in
2
San
months.
Francisco in March.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to imagine they wouldn't just randomly put something on the Twitter account and then make us wait till E3, right? Steimer, do you have any insight onto this project?
I can't talk about anything, so you should ask someone else.
Dang.
Drax.
The other noteworthy thing about this tweet is that the trailer was revealed 5 years ago on January 10th. So it had some sort of
Wow.
strategic planning to it. I love CD Projekt Red. I love the Witcher series, one of my favorite of all time. I'm curious because typically when games have a futuristic city setting, they just lose me completely. But I'm sure CD Projekt Red will have a killer narrative in this game, and I'm hoping that'll be enough to hold my interest. That's my only concern. Like
Yeah.
androids and like cities and buildings, like there's just no escapism there for me. So not that I have
But aren't
androids
you
in my
looking
daily
forward to
life.
Detroit?
I am, but that's purely like narrative. It's more of like the sandbox city sort of atmosphere where I have my freedom to go do whatever I want. That I look around and I'm like, okay, I'm uninspired. I would have to stick purely to the main campaign missions, but yeah.
So,
Okay,
Brittney, you
so-
don't like trees and you don't like cities. What do you like?
No
I
trees,
like
no
rolling
cities.
green hills and dragons and orcs and trolls and
Rolling
that kind of shit.
empty green
And
hills.
zombies.
And zombies.
Rolling empty green hills.
Rolling
But
green
I'm really
hills
looking forward
filled
to
with
this.
zombies.
Yes.
In zombies, medieval zombie game. That's what I need in my life. Oh, someone do this.
That has
But-
to
oh,
exist,
That would be
doesn't it?
scarier because you wouldn't have guns.
Right. You have to use like maces and swords and shit. I'm all about
Crossbows.
this. Oh yeah.
I'm excited for this because, well, like again, like you, Brittany, I don't venture like sci-fi. Like it's either hit or miss. Either it's like Star Wars and you hook me because there's that stupid weird magic semi-weeaboo
Midichlorians.
samurai thing to it with the lightsabers, or you go like so technical and so sci-fi that it's like I don't know. But the Witcher series, as like I've said, I'm nerdy for narrative, and they did such a good job with that story. And with all of their side quests, every little thing you did felt meaningful. So I'm super excited to see something else from the studio,
Yeah.
even if it's cyberpunky. So very excited for this game. Those were all my trigger words. I'm triggered.
Now
I'm
I wish
ready.
it was called cyberpunky.
cyberpunky.
We can call it cyberpunky. Affectionately.
So cute.
Well, we'll obviously keep you guys posted once we hear more, but now you know to keep your eyes peeled.
Brittany, Google Dead Crusade. It's a zombie medieval RPG.
There you go.
Oh.
It's like all of her trigger words.
Yep.
Oh yeah. That's it.
What's the name
Is
of it
there
again?
banging?
It's called Dead Crusade.
Dead Crusade. It's an Unreal 4 game.
Unreal 4. Yeah,
Lucky.
and then there's something called Undead Knights.
Oh, girl.
Girl, go.
Dead Crusade is a medieval co-op horror game. Done.
It's co-op? Done. Jesus, that's like
Let's stream this
everything
shit.
you
We
want.
can end this podcast now. I'm out of here.
Goodbye, everybody. This is a great show. Just kidding. Next story. Changes to Xbox achievements have been discovered. So what's interesting about this is we put this story in the rundown for this week's show, and then Xbox announced new features, but they didn't quite announce what was discovered by Windows Central, which is intriguing. So Eurogamer reports that Microsoft is developing a new system to track your overall accomplishments on Xbox, currently dubbed Your Career. The first details of the system have been uncovered by the reliable Windows Central. The discovery backs up previous comments made by Xbox exec Mike Ybarra, where he hinted at something similar in the pipeline. The in-development feature currently looks like it is organized around levels, with quests for XP and rewards when you level up. These rewards include loot crates with cosmetic items for your Xbox avatar. Code relating to the unannounced feature suggests that you'll rack up experience points and collect crates simply by playing specific games and unlocking achievements. Now, Microsoft already runs quests for using Xbox via other external schemes like the feedback app and the rewards program, but your career would presumably bake a similar and more overarching version of those into your console itself. So the report follows Ybarra's tease from last summer that Microsoft was working on a way to reflect your playtime and accomplishments better than the current achievement system. Ybarra previously said there's actually bigger, more bolder changes that we have in mind. We can do a lot more to reflect and let people show their gaming history and their status. So I think this is kind of cool. So the thing that Xbox announced today was that mini game hubs are coming to the guide, and that you can put up your do not disturb online status, which is something that we heard about last week. And that they're addressing some user feedback about inactivity shutdown options. Basically, like a bunch of other things that weren't this, which is intriguing. I thought for sure that they were going to be like, and we've confirmed it, but they didn't. All they said was, we're excited to return in 2018 with new features that impact the way you access your games and achievements. So
the one achievement-related thing they did announce, I'll read this straight from the news.xbox.com website. And okay, insiders enrolled in the Alpha Ring will receive the latest Xbox One system update. And with this update, you will be able to use the next achievements feature in the guide, which enables you to view and sort a cross-game list of upcoming achievements. Easily see which achievements you are closest to and quickly launch the game to obtain them. Sort filters allow you to prioritize next achievements by closest, most common, rarest, most common rare, and highest gamer score.
Huh.
I mean, I don't care about achievements, but I'm sure if you're someone like Stemalot over here who probably likes the Chivos.
I mean, I like them, but like, I'm not gonna do that.
You don't care.
I mean, I've cared less as I've gotten older. I cared a lot. If you told me this like 5 years ago, I would have been like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Steimer. My gamer score was a big point of pride for me during the 360 era. I loved getting as many achievements as possible. To the point where I didn't even know what the trophy system was on PlayStation because I was all about the Chivos. But now that I'm more in the PlayStation ecosystem, I don't feel like I'm as attracted to trophies as I was to gamer score, and I'm not quite sure why. I think it's because I like the idea of all of my progress being cumulative, and that my gamer score is a total sum of all of the achievements across all of my games instead of getting individual trophies per game. I know you can, like, at the top of your profile or whatever counts all of your trophies, but I don't know, it just didn't have the same feel to it.
Yeah, no, I agree. But then again, I also did the thing where I was on 360 for a really long time and then started switching over to PlayStation. Yeah, I think, and I wonder if trophies killed it for me. Like, I mean, I still have a lot of trophies, but it's just age. I don't know which it was. I can't
old now.
I don't know.
Something I'm looking forward to, and it's a really simple thing, and I'm surprised that hasn't been done, is the do not disturb feature. Because
why are you looking forward to that?
Because back in the day,
she likes to hide from us.
No.
True.
Back in the day, I gave out my gamer tag just publicly, which is fine. But it became to the point where when I would sign on, I would be hit up with, like half a dozen requests to play a game, or I'd be in the middle of a cutscene and a notification would pop up. So I would turn off the notification, but then I felt bad because I felt like people thought I was ignoring them. And so, there are times when, no, Steimer, don't point at yourself.
You're ignoring us.
Girl, no. So I'm just looking forward to it so people know it's like I'm not purposefully ignoring you. It's like it's not that I don't want to like chat with you, or it's not that I don't appreciate the gamer invite. It's just like right now I'm in the middle of like a single player campaign narrative thing, and I'm not online to play with other people. That's all. It's a nicer way of like, doing it. That makes sense.
You're so nice. I just ignore people.
You're gonna be like that person who would always be logged into AIM as invisible. And you're
Yeah.
like, what's the point? Why are you even here?
Brittney is
That's
right.
exactly what she's never going to take the do not disturb sign on. She's going to
Nope.
put that sucker on and then it's never coming off.
Assholes. Y'all are assholes. But I love
We're
you
not
all.
assholes, Britt. We just are desperate for your affection, okay?
Why don't
really
you like
are.
us?
We're
Get in
starved
line.
over here.
Well, no, I kind of get it because I don't like playing with people either, but still.
Well, when Destiny 2 came out earlier this year, we intentionally were trying to fire
Last year.
team up. Oh my gosh, it is last year. It's 2018 now. We were intentionally trying to play together, and we couldn't send her. We kept sending her messages and PS party invites, and we were
And
texting.
text messages.
dead to the
and
world.
Facebook messages.
Yes,
Mea culpa.
exactly.
We did not try smoke signals.
We did not.
Or
Next
rape.
time.
See, that's why you didn't show me that you wanted my affection. If you gotta try harder next time. Steimer.
You gotta get a pigeon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
carry your
yeah.
pigeon. Thank
I
you,
was gonna go with the
Exos.
Raven. 'cause
You
the
can
Raven's
name
a
it
little cooler.
Peeper.
Oh my
She'll,
god.
she'll pay attention to that.
That's true. If we sent a pigeon with a name tag that said Peeper, she would never leave
That
our
would be it.
side. She'd be like, "I'll make sure you
Peeper!
don't die, Peeper."
I figured it out. My secret has been exposed.
Okay, so for the last bit of news to chat about, this is kind of an interesting one. So not really like a newsy story in the traditional sense, but the IGDA conducts an annual survey, and they found some I don't know if troubling is the right word. But
Casually upsetting. It's
Yes.
casually upsetting.
yes, it is casually upsetting, but also worth discussing. They found that diversity is not increasing in game development. So according to a 2017 developer satisfaction survey, which is done every year by the nonprofit, the International Game Developers Association, it found 81% of developers feel diversity in the workplace is important, but most of them don't believe the industry has become any more diverse in the past 2 years. A large percentage of game developers are white or multiracial, with white 71%, according to the IGDA, and a disproportionate number are men, 79%. 86% of those are heterosexual, and most are married or in long-term relationships without children. Among those that work for companies with diverse equality policies, only 56% said that those policies were adequately enforced. When asked what the industry needed to do to succeed in the future, about 1/5 of the respondents said more diversity in the games it produces is a priority, the second most selected option after advancement in game design. The IGDA also highlighted some of its findings around job insecurity too. Nearly 40% of the developers expect to be at their current employer for 3 years or less, with 1/5 saying they didn't know how long their current job would last. 27% of the developers have worked for 3 to 5 employers in the last 5 years, with the majority of respondents having spent less than 10 years in game development as a whole. Now we're seeing, according to Jen McLean, the interim executive director of the IGDA, she said, "We're seeing high rates of turnover and concerns about job stability. Combined with the lack of support for equality and diversity in the workplace, these results confirm the IGDA's belief that the organization must act to help game development create fulfilling, sustainable careers." Developers were also asked which company was most desirable to work for, as a sidebar. For the first time in 4 years, which company do you guys think won?
Blizzard.
Well, I mean,
I
we
bet-
cheat like we can see it.
Yeah.
I didn't look. I didn't look. Am I right?
The audience is a beat to think of an answer, but yes, it's Blizzard. Blizzard
Holy
won.
shit! It's because Overwatch, that freaking Overwatch bank,
Interestingly,
the
for
bank of Overwatch.
they won for the first time in 4 years. I'm sorry, let me read this better. For the first time in 4 years, Blizzard beat out Valve for the top spot with
I believe
8% of the vote. Valve took second place, with Nintendo coming in third and Bethesda coming in fourth.
Well, Valve only makes one game, and it's Dota.
I don't know.
They make Left 4 Dead
they
sometimes.
They also have Team Fortress.
Right, but like, when was the last time Valve put out a new game?
Yeah, I mean, they're more of a platform service now.
Right.
True.
But
But they also
Blizzard,
have CS:GO.
that's not
Yes.
It's not
For a
it's
second,
not it's not new, but it's
not, like,
actively played
insurance.
by
Right.
millions of people.
new. Right. Well, I feel like Blizzard won because, one, like, Overwatch is not only like incredibly popular and everybody loves it, so everyone wants to work on it, and two, that game also has so much representation in the actual game, I can't imagine that team isn't like diverse as heck. So I can see why it's been an attractive get or an attractive move for a lot of people. Also, like, they're hiring like crazy. I opened my Facebook 2 days ago and like 10 of my friends now work for Blizzard in some capacity. Like,
Yeah.
Blizzard taking everyone. Taking all those people.
They're just like, here, all of my children,
That
come.
bacon
everybody.
Overwatch.
Pretty much.
I mean, it's not just Overwatch, but yeah.
No, I know.
No, I thought,
All of their shit's pretty successful.
But like Overwatch has that kooky, crazy, amazingly dedicated and rabid fan base. So they're like in the spotlight.
Well, and it's particularly at the forefront right now because you've got Owl starting up the Overwatch World League, which is getting a lot of attention from a lot of people. I think Overwatch is going to hopefully be a good jumping off point for people who weren't previously interested in esports to maybe take a look at the competitive professional video game scene. I know that I have talked about how I thought it would be great for a game like Rocket League to maybe be that gap, that bridge where people could say, hey, I understand that game. It's just like 3v3. It's cars playing soccer, right? That's an easy game to follow. Overwatch is not as easy to follow. There's quite a few things happening on screen, but it's not StarCraft, right? It's not something that is so intricate like RTS or like a MOBA like Dota or League, where there's just so many moving parts happening at once that it's just impossible to follow if you don't play the game at all. But
I would think CSGO is a better, like, CSGO is pretty straightforward.
true.
Like, one team wins. Great. Easy. Didn't have to think about it.
It's definitely easier to follow. I just find it a little repetitive.
Sure.
I don't know.
I think the only reason Overwatch doesn't feel repetitive, though, is because there's so much visual flair and so many
Exactly.
different characters. But that comes with when you add that layer of complexity, then that's also the barrier at some point, right? Because we were like, what is that? Did that person freeze someone? What's going on? She has ice powers? What?
That's May, right?
Yeah.
The girl with the hoodie, with the furry hoodie.
Furry
did
jacket.
we play Overwatch one time for a Patron exclusive?
did.
We did.
Yes.
Steimer
Okay,
killed
Alexa, did you
everyone.
play that?
No,
I thought you.
I thought you played.
I
You
didn't.
played a couple
I
rounds.
No, I didn't. We because
played it
Steimer
too,
killed
but-
everyone, so we just let her keep killing everyone
Oh, okay.
because it was.
That feels like
it
a
was
blur. I
effing
must have had a lot
incredible.
to drink that night.
She was like, I've never played Overwatch. Nah, everyone's dead.
I was the perfect level of drunk to play Overwatch.
An
and
Overwatch
drunk-
savant, if you will.
drunk enough to be like, I got this, and then all was good.
That was fun.
It was fun. We'll have to pick it up again. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for our news segment for this week. When we come back after the break, we'll have some hands-on impressions. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I have made good on my promise and made a game that I told Alexa Ray that I was gonna play. And then after that, don't forget, The Life is Strange Before the Storm, Episode 3, SPOILERCAST. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. This is the What's Cooking podcast. So we have been playing some video games. Steimer has been doing some adult life things like
How dare you?
relearning to play her flute. How's that
What?
been going, Steimer?
It's been going better than expected, actually.
Can we start a
So
band?
how long did you play before you picked it back up?
Like 4.5 years
Oh.
ish. And yeah, and so I took my flute back here with me from home. Had my dad like take it off the top shelf. I was like, I can't even reach it. It's so far away. It's a little tarnished. It's a little rusty, but I relearned the B flat scale successfully and relearned part of a song that I had been teaching myself by ear. Like, I just have a clip of a song in my head that I think is from Sailor Moon.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yes.
I cannot figure out what the actual melody is. I actually went searching on YouTube like the other day, just down the rabbit hole trying to find this friggin' song. Couldn't find it. So maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to learn it enough so that I can put a portion of it on Twitter and then have Twitter help me figure out what the song is. 'Cause
That's
I don't know.
awesome.
What?
You
Can
don't
you
have
hum
the,
it?
You don't have the clip of the song?
No, it's in my head.
Can you hum it?
No. I'll do it for you. Not on podcast.
Because I
I'll do it
probably-
for you,
because
at
I
the
probably
event.
know.
You're putting her under pressure.
I own every Sailor Moon like character image song and soundtrack CD. I can probably help you figure out what that song is.
Yes, girl.
Sorry,
All right, you
nerds.
can help me figure that out.
Amazing. I'm not surprised whatsoever.
But let's start a band. You play flute, I
Okay.
play piano. Brittney, what do you play?
I played the clarinet in 4th grade.
Okay, clarinet.
I played both the French horn and the viola.
So
my
we'll have
goodness.
like we can either have like a bunch of woodwind instruments and a piano, or
I
we can
definitely
bust that
would
viola
woodwind. What's
out.
good
No, I'd
woodwind?
prefer to go with the horn. It would be
Right.
easier to pick up
Get
because
that
let me
horn.
tell you, learning strings is really difficult.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
down.
So
What's her
the
name,
next time someone
What?
contacts us on Spotify about our songs, we have a song ready to go.
So the inside track on that is that I tweeted about an email that we received at contact@whatsgoodgames.com. Of course, you guys can email us there. It's our public email address, and we sometimes will get people reaching out to us wanting to work with us on certain things. And sometimes we get these very like boilerplate emails from companies which are like super obvious that it's just like they swapped out the name and we're part of some kind of mailing list. And let me actually see if I can,
God,
let me
I
see if
saw
I can
that.
pull it up right now.
I saw
It
that.
was
I was
so
like,
funny.
oh my God.
It came from a woman who I won't call out, but she works for a company. Oh my gosh, so
Didn't
many
she
things.
message us through SoundCloud?
Was it through
No, she
SoundCloud?
found us on SoundCloud.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yes,
That's
no,
right.
it was a message through SoundCloud.
Oh. Well, then
Yeah,
I don't know
it
what I'm
was
talking
like-
about.
it
Don't
was
listen to me.
It was like we took a look at your songs, and I'm like, what?
Oh my god.
Our songs?
Like what songs are you
Oh
talking
yeah,
about?
here
Songs
it
that we
is.
sing.
Okay. It says, "How's it going? What's good games? I was just surfing through SoundCloud and I found your page. I heard a few of your songs. It was really surprised. I'm actually a talent rep for blank 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 and I'd like to help you get your page greater exposure. This could be a great chance for you to grow your following. Shoot me an email and we could talk more about this."
You'll never
Maybe-
see. Oh, so
I really
The
want
last
you to
seal
email her
prize
back.
is gonna be
Should
our
I
first
email her
song.
back?
The last seal prize.
And be like, "So we have a couple demos."
Seal prize.
never seal it coming. Andrew on horn. So
Oh
good.
god.
So good.
That would be
I think
really
this is
funny.
the best idea we've had.
I
Let's do
know
it.
we're clearly in the wrong industry. What the hell?
Find your clarinet, Brittney. We're doing it.
Okay.
Let's go. Or like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's
I
do
have
it.
one of my best friends is a professional French horn player, an actual legit French horn player. She played in the Family Guy band.
Ooh.
I could maybe see if she could bring her horn up, so I don't have to like rent one.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
would
And
let
then,
me
like-
borrow
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Let's
Yeah.
do it.
Oh
It'd be
man.
fun.
Oh man.
Never seal it.
Okay,
coming.
so back to the show. Hold on, I lost my page here. You have been playing. You haven't been playing anything besides Life is Strange. I see you finished a couple books.
Yeah, I finished Girl in Snow, which is a mystery novel about a teenage girl that gets murdered because it's, yeah, why wouldn't I read about that?
So that's why
and
Alexa's snow story creeped you out a little bit. Girl in snow.
honestly, no. It was
Oh,
just more of
well.
like the silence. I understand that silence could either be comforting or creepy. It goes one of two ways. And then I started American Gods by Neil Gaiman last night, and I'm already in love with it.
That book is kooky.
What is that book about?
like-
American Gods.
No, I mean, oh my gosh.
No.
So it's a. It's
So
a
it's
If
about
I
a man
believed in
named
violence,
Shadow.
I would maybe violate you right now
oh dear.
with my
Whoa.
hand to your face.
I've been violated.
It's about
Is
a
this
guy named
workplace
Shadow
harassment? Where's
who's been in
HR?
prison
Are you
for
HR
3
too?
years.
Yes.
I'd like to file a
Alexa, let
complaint
me tell
against
this.
you.
Steimer's trying to tell a
Let me
story about her book, Alexa Ray.
He spent 3 years in jail. He's about to get out, and they let him out a couple days early because sad news bears. His wife and his best friend die on the same day in a car accident. So
Yikes.
he's sort of like lost,
It gets
trying to
worse.
go back to. He's trying to go back home, but he obviously doesn't have a direction anymore because he was only thinking of his wife like throughout this 3 years, and like I can't wait to get back to her. And then he meets a guy on this plane called, well, he calls himself Mr. Wednesday. He's a weird, mysterious character. And this guy offers him a job, and then I assume hijinks will ensue. I'm just like at the part where he's met Mr. Wednesday, and like he hasn't agreed to work for him yet. So yeah,
Mr. Wednesday.
It's a really
but
good
just like
book.
his writing style is really intriguing, and I like it. I like the writing a lot.
Yeah.
Grabs you.
It's a book about, but also it's a book about like religion and faith. You haven't gotten to those parts yet,
I haven't
but
gotten
it's
to that
very
part
like,
yet.
it's very heavily about that. And when you figure out like what American Gods means, it's like, what? Like, it's cool.
Like
Hey,
a
it's a
mind
great
blown
book.
situation.
What?
Like a mind blown situation.
Yes. It's a really, really good book. And AMC, I think, just finished season 1 of a show based on it.
Yeah, there's a Stars show.
I'm afraid to watch it. Oh yeah, Stars. Stars did it, not AMC.
I only know that because they ruined the book cover by putting a fucking stamp on it that says now a Stars series, and I'm like, I don't care.
Oh.
Can you not?
Steimer, I'm proud of you for, you said you wanted to do this in the last podcast, and you're doing it.
I did. I am.
Reading
I'm
books.
well, because I had the first week. I need to figure out balance a little bit better because I
Yeah.
did the first weekend where I only played Assassin's Creed and did nothing else. And then I had a weekend where I just didn't play any games because I was trying to like do other things. So I need to like mix the two together and have weekends where I do a little column A and a little column B.
Yes.
I think
Healthy.
that sounds like a great plan.
Yes.
Brittney, you have been playing a very interesting mix of games. I'm looking at this
Yeah,
list.
it's really
I'm looking
weird.
at this list going,
Girl.
I don't think we need to talk more about Zelda because we've talked a lot about Zelda.
Goodbye forever.
But I see that you've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles too. How's that going?
I have. I'm only like 8 or so hours into it, and that's one of my resolutions for 2018 is to get back to JRPGs because that's like my bread and butter. Like that's what I grew up playing for the longest time.
My
And
girl.
unfortunately, I've kind of neglected the genre because they take like 100 hours, and I'm like, ain't nobody got time for that. So I've been trying to play more. I'm looking forward to Lost Sphere coming later this month. So yes, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's interesting now that I'm playing a JRPG again because it's hard for me to resonate with such like young characters. Like the appearance of a JRPG, like super like cartoony and all young and oh my gosh, the power of friendship will save everything. And it's like, come on. But this game has really hooked me so far with the narrative. It's not all super like, it has its cheesy moments, but I think there's some deep shit going on that I'm looking forward to uncovering. The UI, like Alexa said, is cuckoo bananas. There's like a million. I feel like every hour that passes, they like introduce a new icon on the screen.
Yep.
And this is like, right? And it's like, okay, so this is another thing I have to take care of. But I'm letting myself just kind of like get lost in this fantasy world. And so far, I'm really enjoying it. I mean, 8 hours in JRPG term is like infancy. So like, I
Yeah,
still
you're, like,
Yeah, that's like
scratched
2
on that.
minutes in a normal
yeah,
game.
yeah.
But that's an interesting point you had about like the power of friendship and all this. And I just started to think, everyone in a JRPG is like 12 years old. Like, and
Well,
I just
14.
yeah, like,
Give or
but
take.
Yeah.
I was kind of trying to think, Alexa, is there anything that has adults in it? Like, were you?
Well, Final Fantasy
like an adult
15.
story? They're not
wanna count
adults. I guess
they're 20s.
I guess two of them
Yeah,
are.
they're like
They're all in their
21.
20s.
Oh, really?
20s,
Not just
whatever.
seems like a baby.
Ravis is
20.
like 25 or something. I don't know. The day I woke up and realized that I was like, I think when I turned 25 or 23 or something, I tweeted like, I'm officially too old to be a Final Fantasy protagonist. And the responses I got were like, Orin is 33. Waka is 30. And that's the, Bosch is like 33. Final Fantasy 12. Final Fantasy 10, Final Fantasy 12. Final Fantasy 13, Saz is like 35. So I think the cutoff is like 35.
Okay.
But
so I've got a couple more years.
But you can't. But the thing is, the characters are either like 19 or they're 30. There's like no mid. There's no late 20s.
the 20s do not exist.
The late 20s do not exist because either you're a 19-year-old or you're an old 30. Or you're a 30-year-old. You're 35 and you're old, and you have children
all
or
of the-
something.
Andrea's
Like, I feel like
shaking
the
her head.
35-year-olds
35 is
that
not
look like
old.
they're
I
40 or
know, but
50.
Final Fantasy is rude and awful. Continue.
No, I was just saying they look like, even though they're 35 or whatever, I feel like they end up, the art makes them look like 50 years old.
Well, sometimes.
Not every character, but sometimes I feel like they say that they're younger, and you're like, are you?
Well, yeah.
You just had a rough life.
I will never forget Final Fantasy X. Orin is 32, I think, and he has gray. His hair's totally gray, and I'm like, God damn it!
I would have thought he would have been so much older than that. That kind of boggles my mind that he's 30.
He was also dead the entire time, but that's semantics. Anyway. Oh
my gosh.
Final Fantasy joke.
So Brittney.
Yeah.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Wait, what? I didn't hear what you said. Oh, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Yeah, basically, I am really enjoying it. It feels good to get, like, back into, like, JRPGs. The hard part for me, like I said, is just kind of, like, letting go. Because I love mature things. I'm not older, even when I was younger. Like, more, like, games that aren't afraid to go there. Because I feel like that's more realistic in the sense. But it's more like the power of friendship. Oh, my God, we can do anything together. Look how awesome we are. It's like that kind of takes me out of it. But I'm trying to like just chill out and revert about 10 years and get into it. Alexa, is that a deterrent for you at all? Or are you like totally into that? Like super cheesy, like, oh my God, we can do this together kind of attitude.
You are talking to someone whose favorite series of all time is Kingdom Hearts.
Well, but okay, yeah, but
Yes.
you grew up playing, so I'm not sure.
Very good point.
Because I have like residual nostalgia.
Yes. No, I grew up playing these too. Like you, I was playing the big long JRPGs while all my friends were like playing Halo or whatever, and nobody understood me. Because I was like, because I
understand the power of friendship.
Because that's the point in my life. Like JRPGs ruined me emotionally because that's how I learned to be like an emotional, gummy, gooey, like lovey-dovey, schmoopy person. Like that's where it came from. Because every JRPG is like Final Fantasy IX says it best. Like you're not alone. There's always people here. You're together. Your friends. Sora, quote from Kingdom Hearts. My friends are my power. They're all like that. It's about like being able. A lot of those games are about leaning on other people and learning that like work towards a common goal, even though you don't see eye to eye, you can still find a way to work together. Blah blah blah. So like yeah, that stuff totally freaking appeals to me. And I'm about 10 hours in Xenoblade. I didn't get a chance. I'm not. Haven't played more of it because I had some gaming duties over break, but I really like what they're doing with Xenoblade. I needed that fun kooky romp, like you were saying.
Yeah,
it's refreshing.
It's good.
It's a palate cleanser.
It's good.
Also, I
Since we're
googled oldest
talking
Final
about
Fantasy
JRPGs,
characters. Oh,
I kind of want Andrea to tell us about her beginnings in JRPG land.
So I had an experience.
You did.
With a Japanese role-playing game. Yes.
Laguna from Final Fantasy VIII is 44. He's the oldest
Oh.
one.
Oh my gosh. So I was playing another of
Bye.
these games with a bunch of young characters called Final Fantasy IX.
Woo! One of the characters is 6 years old. Did you know that? She's 6.
It's true. That's true.
That's ridiculous. Nobody who's 6 should be gallivanting around doing things
and
in
writing love
battles.
notes.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Oh, so awkward.
So I don't know what's going on, and it's weird, and I think it was a mistake to name the characters and not keep their given names.
Oh no! What did you name them? What did you name them? What did you name
And I
them?
didn't realize what I had done until afterwards, and I was like, "Ooh, I
Tell
probably
me.
should have just kept the regular."
Did you name Zidane a girl?
So
a
the
girl name?
first kid.
Oh my god!
named,
I can't wait. Oh my god!
I named JT. So that's Zidane, I think.
Zidane is JT.
As
That's basically the biggest crush I've ever had in my life.
like Justin Timberlake, and then I named Vivi MJ, like Michael Jackson.
Oh my god!
And then
Oh,
the
I'm not
next character was Steiner, and I named him the Hoff, like David Hasselhoff. We named going for a pop star theme.
We named Steimer Steiner. We named him
Why did
Ass
you
Butt.
name me?
I think I like yours better.
Andrea, I love you so much, you precious angel.
It's in dialogue scenes, since it's all in text. If you're like me and you've never played this game before, there is no VO, there's no voices, it's just all text. Having everything come up as the Hoff said is pretty great.
Wow.
So I'm just a little bit into the game. I just did the first battle sequence in the Evil Forest.
Ooh.
And
It's a tough.
It's yeah, it was. I died 3 times before I kind of figured out what I needed to do. I didn't realize that you're supposed to steal from everybody you battle until just now. Because I had to look up a walkthrough as to like how to beat this fight. Because I kept dying so quickly. I was like, I don't understand. And then I was like, okay, I think I figured out what potions are, but they don't tell you what the potions do. And then I picked up a couple pieces of armor, but I don't know how to equip them.
Oh no!
I've been like the menu system is very
Are you
confusing.
naked?
No,
You're all in like just clothing.
The only thing that changes is your weapon.
So I don't really know what's going on, and then I see that there's like a sword art ability, and then I see that there's like some magic, and that I can run away. I fleed. That was my ability, so I hit flee, and then I just like left the fight, and I was like, can I do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I clearly need a little assistance, but it's good that I started on my own to have like the experience of playing the game without anybody telling me what to do and just figuring it out.
Oh my God.
But it's complicated in a way that I'm like, this shouldn't be that difficult because it seems pretty simple. And why does every battle have to have that music? Like it's some big, like some big thing is happening, and I'm like, it's just like a random like fox thing that I found in the forest that I'm fighting, and like the music starts up, and I'm just like, I don't have time for this, and I fled.
I
was
love
like,
that music so much.
I mean, it's great battle music.
Oh, it's so good.
I just like the level up sound. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got that sound yet.
If
you won a battle, you've definitely heard it.
Okay.
Go easy on yourself, because these are Final Fantasy IX uses the staple JRPG turn-based formula, the equipment system. Like, if you have never played a game like that before, I can totally understand why it would seem complicated and confusing. So, like, Alexa and I don't know if Steimer, if you've ever played JRPGs.
We're like experts here, though.
Yes.
No, it's a
No,
lot if you're not used to that.
I've played similar type games, and like a complicated menu system isn't something that I'm afraid of. I think the thing that I've been frustrated with is that they don't tell me what each of the individual items does. Like if I like hover over a potion or a high potion, it doesn't tell me like what's the difference. And the fact that the people you're battling don't have hit points.
Nope.
Like, how am I supposed to know which item I'm supposed to use or which potion I'm supposed to use? It's turn-based. I need to know, like, how many hit points you have or how I'm going to die.
You know you're done when you're done.
No, I don't
That's the
like
thing.
that. But I have hit points. I don't know.
Are you sure that there's no explanation for the items? Like, it might be one of those things where you have to hover over and push, like, square or another item. Because I think the regular potions heal, like, 100, and a high potion heals, like, 300.
Yeah.
Something like that?
Or
okay.
it's like 50,
so there's
100.
probably, like, a toggle button that will tell you. Because that would suck if you don't know what these things do. That would make it very
I
complicated.
will sit down with you after we record, and I will go through this with you.
I'm sure maybe that's it. Maybe it's a button prompt that I'm missing. I'm sure somebody listening right now is like, Andrea, oh my gosh, you're an idiot. Why didn't you just hit this? I've played through this whole game on PS4. This is how you play. So we're going to figure it out. But I wanted to let you know that I've started it. It's clearly shows its age. And OMG is the the sexism just rampant in that game in a way that I was like, yep, this game is like 20 years old. Everything about the girl characters are like, yeah, but she's so pretty. Oh, look at how cute she is. Oh, I don't really want to go save Garnet, but you know, she's really pretty, so I should go save her. And
What
I'm
did
like,
you rename her?
whoa. I haven't gotten the chance to play as her yet.
Okay.
Yeah, Zidane's a playboy.
Yeah.
But no, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a little horn dog.
Yeah. Well, but he's not the only one. The Hoff said it too.
The Hoff.
Well, he's the Hoff.
Steiner,
Of
the
course
guy
he
in the
did.
armor. Also, why is he wearing armor shorts?
Because
his knees are exposed and his elbows are exposed. I'm like, man, if you're gonna wear a suit of plate, if that's gonna be your costume, like, wouldn't
It's
you
like
have
fetal armor.
Wouldn't
Doesn't
you have
make
knee
sense.
coverings on your?
He's only worried about his internal organs.
Look, you're playing
He's
a
gonna
Final
be, like,
Fantasy game.
hopping on his stubs of knees.
No one is ever wearing anything that makes any sense or will protect them in any capacity whatsoever.
Okay.
I'm surprised he doesn't have any weird scraps of fur or extra belts hanging off of him.
Does he have a feather and that's like it coming out of his hat?
Yeah, he's got a
Just like
feather
a
in his
simple
hat and that's
feather.
it.
That's it.
That's pretty
Also,
magically
wild.
funny.
this Queen Brane or whoever.
Yeah, Queen Bran.
She's a hot nightmare mess. Oh my gosh. Is she like supposed to be like not human?
Yes.
Is Garnet her actual like blood daughter?
Just
Or-
play.
you'll
Just
find
keep
out.
playing. Just keep
Just
playing.
keep playing.
like she looks like some kind of monster.
All of your questions will be answered. Just keep playing. Have you met? Wait a minute. Has she hasn't met Kuja yet, right?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
She just got out of the forest.
Oh
So.
man, Kuji.
Yeah.
don't think
So
so.
Coochie
Um,
coochie coo.
coo.
Sorry, I had to do that.
Oh my god,
It's-
so good.
it's
Oh yeah, wait till you
interesting.
meet Kuja. That'll
Oh god,
change your world.
I can't wait to see him play.
I have to admit though, I have to force myself to sit down and play it.
Oh my god. Now I want to replay it.
I know, me too, Alexa.
I have so many things I have to play, and like Lost Sphere, we get Lost Sphere like next week.
yeah,
And
But it would
like,
be you would probably run through it relatively quickly. You're not like me who I'm just like stumbling around like looking in every single corner because I like don't know where any of the chests
Good.
are or anything. No, you would think it's good, but like the problem is like this is a very old game, so there's lots of portions of like the walkable surface that literally have nothing there. You're just like they make that little noise like with every like footstep they take, just walking around the. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
I'm gonna turn that
That
into a
was
gift.
great.
Oh my god.
There are some moments in Final Fantasy IX that I can't wait for you to get to because I know you're gonna be just like, what the fucking fuck is this?
Oh yeah.
I can't
I've
wait.
already said that so many
I
times.
can't
though.
wait. I can't wait.
Beginning.
Oh my god.
But
just
no
wait.
matter what happens, if you hate the game, I'm very proud of you for trying something new.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Kudos.
I'm doing my
Yes.
best. I'm
Yes.
trying to expand my horizons.
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Alexa Ray.
Hi. Speaking of Horizons.
Yes. Another great
Oh.
segue. You finished the game, but you wrote in the show notes that you were disappointed in the ending.
Yes.
So before we continue, ladies, do we want to have a spoilery discussion about the ending, or do we want to keep
Has
it spoiler free?
Brittney, have you played it?
I haven't.
Hmm.
I can take off the headphones and just watch you ladies.
No. Let's keep it a spoiler.
Well, then I don't know if I can talk about it because I have some very, very specific.
We have a year, typically like a year policy, right? So Horizon released February 28th.
So
Whatever
how
that's
about
worth.
we'll make a deadline, Brittany, that you have to finish Horizon before then.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay,
That's totally
Yeah,
fair.
lit a fire under your ass.
So then I'll be as vague as I can.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So
Unless you don't want to talk about it, we can talk about something else.
no. We can talk about it. I played 27 games over break
That's a lot.
because I was a judge for the DICE Awards this year.
Damn, girl.
Brittany, I played Divinity. I played about 15 hours of Divinity Original Sin. I think I'm going to go back and finish it. It's really good.
Yay!
I haven't found Peeper yet, though. I want to find Peeper. So I played very many games, and my brain was bleeding. And I told myself my reward for getting through all my DICE games was I'm going to finish Horizon with my boyfriend, who I played with. We played this together. And we did a bunch of side stuff. We did almost all the side stuff. Got the super kooky Weaver armor that I love.
It's the best.
Did all the side quests, checked in, and before you go to like the final suite or whatever you want to call them of boss things, you can't go back after that. So there's a point that's like go back or like stay, and there's all these options to like go in and check on all the people that Aloy has helped throughout the game. We chose to do that. I thought a lot of the side stuff was wrapped up really, really nicely. I thought that a lot of the conflict in the individual places was wrapped up really nicely. I felt like everything, like every question asked answered itself. So going into the end of the game, I was like, so this game succeeded in having a really great story in that it's not leaving me with like any major questions other than like, what's up with this other tribe, which I guess is what the Frozen Wilds is about. The Bannock?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it answered all those questions. I felt like empowered and I felt really close to the world. And I was like, I know this place. I love this place. I have a couple of weird, like, suspension of disbelief questions about it that I'll get to after Brittney plays her game and we can do our spoiler cast about it. But I'm like, okay, let's go. We're gonna do the thing. And for me, a game, even if I love it, even if I absolutely love the game, can be made or broken for me by a lame boss ending. And
Like the actual boss fight itself, or like the resolution of your interaction with the boss.
the entire thing.
Both.
Like you could have a lame boss fight and like a really crazy cutscene that's like, oh, okay. But if your interaction with the boss is kind of like, oh, okay, then it kind of throws me off. Like I had a lot of issues. I had some issues with the way that 15's ending started, and then the middle was really great. The sequence of boss fights that you have, and then the ending cutscene just really confused the hell out of me. But in the end, it was like the actual battle that I had, the way that the combat was balanced, and the way that it forced you to use all the tools in your toolbox to get through it is what made it something for me. And that's what I think a good final boss or set of final bosses in some games have, like 1 or 2, or if you're Kingdom Hearts, like 6, 6 or 7 at the end. A final boss or a final challenge or whatever it is, if your game has that, should challenge you, should put something in front of you that you have all the tools to do, but should also challenge you to use all of those tools or think about using all of those tools. It's supposed to be a summation of the challenges that you have overcome and the things you have faced. And it should be something that makes you feel like, it should be something that feels like it's high stakes and that feels epic. Because if you're coming to like the climax of a story and you've been like in Horizon Zero Dawn fighting to basically save the world from ending again, what you're facing and what you are led to think you'll be facing, I think you know what I'm talking about, throughout the entire game, I was prepared for that. I was like, this is the thing I'm going to have to fight. And when I stocked up and I equipped myself and I looked at what I had before I started that final sequence, I was like, okay, if this is what I think it is, then I'm probably going to need these. I want to make sure I have all of this. And that's what I prepared for. I prepared for the showdown with this thing that's been sort of the player behind the scenes threatening the whole game, like the ultimate big bad, basically. And what the ending is you have this really amazing boss. Like there's basically like three waves, three segments. And the first one, I was like, okay, this makes sense for a first segment. And then the next segment in like the boss things escalated the threat and felt more threatening and felt more dangerous. And, you know, adrenaline pumping, like everything's going really great. I was really excited by it. And I felt like I was really accomplishing something, like everything Aloy/I had worked towards. Like this was it. This is what I prepared for. And then the final boss battle against the final thing, I was like, I remember it came on screen and I looked at it and I was just like, it's not like, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It was an iteration, without trying to not spoil this for Brittney. It's an iteration of a thing that you have fought before, except its hit points are just a little bit higher. And I was like, okay, so I already know how to defeat this thing. Maybe I defeat this thing, and then the thing I think I'm gonna fight is behind it, or like reaching behind it, and the world is counting down, and there's a timer, and everything's crazy, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get through this thing, and then I can go fight this thing. And it was too easy. Like the fight was too easy, and I don't think it was because I was OP. I definitely didn't feel like it was me just wailing on it, but I feel like it was too easy and it was super anticlimactic. And then Aloy does what she has to do to end the story. And there's a little cutscene, and the cutscene is literally, the essence of the cutscene is literally everyone going, "Woo, that's over," and then credits roll. And I was like, okay, that's
It's so much more than that,
Well-
though, because I just pulled it up to like remind myself of the sequence you're talking about.
yeah.
And like it was such an amazing feeling getting to that point.
It was, but
and
then
the credits are so good in that game.
the credits are cool. The credits are really cool.
And there's so much. There's other stuff that happens.
There's two big cutscenes.
I'm like, it's just hard to talk about.
It's hard to
Yeah.
talk about. So
wanna
there's
say
two
things.
there's two big cutscenes you get rewarded with, one before the credits, one after. The one before the credits moved me, made me really sad. But I think that sentiment, like that, I loved that sentiment was there, but I didn't feel like I earned it in the final boss battle. I feel like I got an emotional payoff for something I didn't really work for. And then the scene after the credits made me fucking angry. I hated it. I hated it so much. I was like, unnecessary. This is stupid. Like maybe like I understand every game wants to leave it open-ended for a sequel maybe or something or whatever. But I saw it and I was like, it felt like it cheapened the ending for me.
Interesting.
And that final boss battle I feel like was not the challenge that I was expecting for the earth-shattering consequences of everything going on. I feel like it was like, here's the thing you fought before and it's a little bit more difficult. The last part.
That's
Go
crazy.
play
The last
Frozen
part, and I
Wilds,
was
'cause
like-
it'll hand your ass to you.
Then I'm totally excited to get my ass handed to me.
I have to say I'm surprised. I will. It's obvious that if you did all of the side content, that you were very high powered going into the final fight.
I did most of it.
You can technically like get to the final fight at like level 35,
Right,
and the level cap is 50,
right.
And I maxed out my level cap and I maxed out my skill tree really before going into the final boss fight. So I did feel very strong, but I didn't feel like it was an easy fight, especially with all of the different waves. It was challenging, but I didn't want them to successively get more and more difficult. That would have been frustrating.
Right. But like difficulty aside, like I just felt like that, like the last part was not creative. And I felt like for what the game was setting you up to face and what you had to face, the thing that I can't name because of Brittney, I just felt like it was like it felt like a cop out. Like that one stretch, like I remember I was like, oh, it's this thing, and then I get to go and fight the actual thing, and you don't. And I just remember the way that I felt when that battle was over and then the end sequence started that was it. Like that's what I felt. I was like, that's all? That's it?
But does that taint the entire experience for you?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, but it really disappointed me because I feel like I was working towards the thing that I was working towards was not the thing that I was working towards, which is the way that the game presents its narrative and what it presents you with made me think like, and I guess not everyone probably felt that way when they were playing this game, but I felt like that was the thing I was getting ready to beat. And when Aloy is like laying in that bed, like talking to like the people that have passed and talking to like people in her head and like thinking about all that she's seen and all the people that she's like talked to and whatnot, again, trying to be vague because of Brittney.
You're doing real good.
It's a very poignant moment. And like her saying those things, I was like, oh man, yeah, you're going to go fight the really big bad thing. That's like, you know, gonna like could destroy the world.
It's like going into the suicide mission in Mass Effect 2, right?
Right. So
Which is not a suicide mission,
Yeah.
and everybody can live.
right. So
Yes.
I guess
Video games.
It might take you 5 playthroughs to make sure everybody you want is alive, but you know,
Yeah.
it's okay.
it disappointed me. I thought it would be more creative. And then the first cutscene happened and I was like, oh, okay, everything's good now. And then the post-credits cutscene, which I saw Steimer make a note about in our show notes, fucking infuriated me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was mad.
I mean, yeah.
Don't.
I wasn't mad, but I was like, "Meh."
Unnecessary.
Sorry.
I was like, this story is beautiful and poignant and it says so much and it doesn't leave a lot unsaid, but what it leaves unsaid is a lot of messaging for like us and a lot of like things that as a player you kind of have to parse through the way that you feel about these themes and these things. And I liked that, and I liked that the way it ended, it didn't like, it's like that's it. Like Aloy had her story and there's this like beautiful majestic epic and I was like, yeah. And then the post-credits scene happened and I was just like, no, you had it. You had your beautiful little end cap and then you had to like be like, wait, like scribble something in the end. No.
We're going to have to discuss this further when we can actually discuss it.
Yeah.
When Brittney finally finishes it. But I think it's one of the best stories of 2017. Like, I think it's fantastic. I was just a little disappointed in the ending.
Sometimes it's hard to bring it home, you know? You
Yeah.
put so much emphasis on the journey that you don't really stop to think about the
Right.
destination.
I compared the ending of Horizon Zero Dawn to the ending of Assassin's Creed Syndicate. That really awful boss battle. That was like we have to put a final boss in. Here you go.
Do you though? No.
You don't have to.
No.
You could be like, surprise, you did all this shit, and you did it. Bye.
You did it.
The
yeah,
journey-
you did
the journey-
thing. Go home.
That's-
Wait, you are home.
Yeah, there's the game idea. The journey was the destination. Haha, motherfuckers, we tricked you.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so you have some homework, Brittney. But did you want to talk about any of these other games on your list? I see you've been playing some Warhammer, and you were playing Octodad.
Yeah. I can touch briefly on these like I did for my 18 games last week. Warhammer End Times Vermintide is like, think of it as a medieval Left 4 Dead. It does some things a little different, but it's a really fun co-op game. The level design is like sex for me because it's super medieval. There's like dungeons and like.
Did you say it's like sex for you?
It's fantastic.
We gotta take you.
I saw
It's
me and
that
Andrea
good,
both
you
went,
guys.
"What?"
It's that good.
I have an
That-
idea.
That is a box quote right there.
We gotta take Brittney to medieval times.
Yes.
Oh, please.
Maybe
No, I'm a sucker
for-
for all that stuff.
Maybe for our 30th birthdays, which are, like 6 hours apart, we can all just go to medieval times.
Girl, I'm there.
Let's do it.
I am
perfect.
there. I will
Let's
dress
do
up.
it.
I have chainmail. I'll wear my chainmail. It'll
my
be
God.
fantastic.
You have chainmail?
I do. It's hanging in my garage. It's fantastic.
Oh my
That's
God.
amazing.
Yeah, just like that
I'm
idea.
not surprised.
It's great. Recommend it if you're looking for co-op people. If you have looking for a co-op game, I can't speak. Octodad, Dadliest Catch, I played because I had so much fun with Human Fall Flat and those ragdoll physics that I wanted something kind of similar. And it's co-op and it's interesting because one person controls the left side of the Octodad's body and someone controls the right side, and it's a cluster F, and it's hilarious. And that's all I'll say for now. But those are 2 co-op games I would recommend. Octodad only if you really like the person you're playing with. Otherwise, it can get really ugly.
Yeah.
Yes, it can be
It's a
very
good litmus test for a relationship.
You can
Yeah,
also play it
basically.
solo if you have no one to share games
That's
with.
true. I think you can play with up to 4 people, actually. One
Yes, you
person
can.
for each extremity. Yeah.
That would be nuts.
Yeah.
That's a fight waiting to happen.
That's our next
Sounds
We
like
stream.
should
a good
play
Patreon
it.
stream.
It is, actually. That's a brilliant idea.
Let's do it.
Oh my gosh. Those streams where all 4 of us are together are, of course, Patreon exclusive rewards. If you guys want to be part of those streams that we do once a month, patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. You can toss us a buck and get in on the happy hour Q&A.
It's so good.
It's for all levels of patrons. And then we have the special after hours tier that is a little bit more money, but you get a little bit extra, which is pretty awesome. And we love those conversations that we get to have with you guys every month, talking in the chat, playing with you guys. It's one of our highlights. We really, really do love playing with you. So that'll do it for our hands-on segment for this week. Prepare yourselves for the Life is Strange spoiler cast to come. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. It's time for me to show you
Oh my God.
the Final Fantasy couple noodle.
Oh, boy.
Cool.
Square
Um,
Enix, I know you guys listen to this podcast. You sent me 2 pallets of ramen noodles the month I decide to do a whole 30. Thanks.
It says warm up for battle on it, and I'm on Weight Watchers right now. John and I are doing it together, and so we scanned this in.
It's
and
10
it's
points.
10 Weight Watchers points, which
that
is
a lot?
It's
Yes.
yeah, it's like 2/3,
You only get like
half of my
yeah.
points.
You only get like 23, 25 like a day. So 10.
That's half your day?
yeah.
That's not even going to keep you full for more than an hour.
No.
I know. That's why that's why they make them that expensive, because they don't want you to eat a lot of them. So technically, we can eat as many vegetables and fruits and
Yeah.
chicken breasts and fish.
Yeah,
as
all
we
the
want.
chicken
They're all
breasts.
zero.
All the chicken
They're all 0 points. But like when you add like oil or condiments or any of that stuff, then
But not hot sauce.
hot sauce
is
is
0.
free. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But
Oh,
anyway,
Britt would
we
do
brought
okay.
them because we have a pallet of them. And I'm going to save some for you ladies when you arrive here in San Francisco. We can all eat them together. And then we will also be gifting some of these.
They have codes.
I-
They have codes on them for outfits in Dissidia Final Fantasy NT, which is coming out at the end of the month.
I'm
No
bringing my
added
big
MSG.
suitcase so I can bring some home and maybe put them in my Final Fantasy shrine.
Don't pretend
maybe?
like you're
Your
bringing your big
shrine.
suitcase for cup of noodle. These would fit in a perfectly, relatively good sized carry-on bag. You
It's
just
an
want to
excuse.
Always
wanna
brings her
bring
big
your big
suitcase.
bag.
Always.
I do.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we
do.
give Brittney a hard time. We love her, but we give her a hard time because when she flies down here to San Francisco for our monthly shoots, she brings a suitcase that I could fit inside. It is enormous. And we're like, you're only here
She's
for
only
2
here
days.
for like a couple days.
Hey, you never know.
Girl
Something
needs
might happen.
options.
Fallout 5. Like IRL Fallout 5. I might have to stay at Andrea's house for a week.
Have you
I'm
seen my
covered.
closet? I
Is
have
that
plenty of
suitcase
things
your
you could
bug out
wear.
bag?
Yeah, kind of.
Oh my God, Brittany.
Okay, just bring it with me everywhere,
I
just
would like
in
to
case.
see you in a zombie apocalypse, like slugging that thing behind you.
Dragging it.
I'm slowly trying to move in. I'm like leaving like bobby pins and like my toothbrush around.
That's
Like
true.
it's a slow process, but it's working.
I'm bringing a blow dryer to leave at your house.
Wait, really?
No, she has one.
I got another one.
Oh.
I got a really nice one for Christmas, and the other one I had was not really nice too. So I was like, what am I gonna do with this? And I'm like, well, I'll just leave it at Andrea's house.
Bring
so
it to
that
my
I
house.
think
I
I
can
have
have a
the
nice
one that
blow dryer.
we use in our bedside drawer. I keep one of her hair dryers. I think it's in there. And
Yeah,
my
no,
keys
I
and
had to go
everything
find
else.
it, but it's my travel one. That one's really great because it's super powerful. Anyway, we
Yeah.
digress. Thank you for
Yes.
humoring us. But now, the moment you've been waiting for. I hope that you're caught up. This is your first and only warning for spoilers because we're going to lay it all bare. It's Life is
Whoop,
Strange
whoop.
Before the Storm, Episode 3, Hell is Empty.
Whoop, whoop.
But before we
Um,
go to Hell is Empty, we have some turbo patrons
That's right,
that we
Steimer.
would like to talk to.
Steimer.
Say their names.
This is why.
Say my name. Say my name.
It's the funny part is that Steimer reminded me at the beginning of the last segment, don't forget we got to do turbo patrons this month. And I was like, yeah, we do. We got some new people. And then she was like, but you're going to forget. I'm like, but I wrote it in the show notes.
And you
then
forgot
I didn't forget. We did it. Steimer reminded me
just now.
just now.
Just now.
I got you.
now.
Let's
Okay.
do it.
So, Turbo Patrons are a fantastic group of people who are on patreon.com/what'sgoodgames, who are in our comments, who are sending us emails, who are part of our community in a really awesome, meaningful way. We got to meet some of you guys at PSX, which was really cool. People have been asking, are you going to be doing an East Coast meetup? Yes, we will be doing a meetup at PAX East.
Woohoo!
It's still a couple months out, so we don't have any details for you yet, but we are planting that flag. Yes, there will be a What's Good Games meetup of some kind during PAX East, which is April 5th through the 9th, I believe.
It's 4 days. Yeah.
Somewhere around there. Yes, 4 days now.
We should
for
probably
PAX
book our
East.
hotel.
Yeah, we'll get on that later. But a big shout out and thank you to our Turbo patrons. I'm going to read all of their names here. As always, if you're new to this list, or even if I've messed up your name in the past, I apologize if I mispronounce your name. Names are hard, guys. All right, starting at the top, Mr. David Icolucci, Alex Rogopoulos, Lincoln Davis, Tom Bach, who is a new producer for us. We have one of his special segments coming next week. Stephen Insler, Daniel Raymond, George Ralph. Ooh,
Is that
I
one
like
name?
that. Yeah,
I
it's
love
one
that name.
That's awesome.
I did your postcard.
Four names.
4 names. George, Joe Schlief, Michelle Villegas, Kathy Lucas, Miss Coughdog, Kia Bright, Steph Wu, Austin Riley, Dustin Lewis, Tara Bruno, Kyle Heyman, Amar Dillon, Sion Stevenson, Stephen McPherson, Aaron J. Saxon, Tara Waldrop, Benjamin Pardue, Adrian Williams, RJ Bryan, Trevor Starkey, Elmo Shell, Jared Howard, Bass Peterson, Carl Peterson, Molly Bittner.
Molly! Happy belated birthday, Molly!
Yes, she just celebrated her birthday.
Woo!
Giselle Basa, Genevieve Schultz, Muhammad, Nam H. Bowie, Jeff Hutchinson, Tim Ross, Brian Slack, E. Izare, Robert Guerrero, Maddie Stanley, John Drake, Bill Stillwell, Jason Erickson, Sam Baptiste, No Clip, which is Danny O'Dwyer, Adam Rapome, Billy Shibley, Stephanie Fitzwilliams, who had a really weird dream about me that she DM'd me about. It was really funny.
Oh.
It involved like some kind of robot dog. I don't know. Sam, Jason T. Barnes, Harrison Pink, Tommy Larson, Ross Haney, Jessica Salisbury, Nicole Humphrey, Mike Lynch, Brooke Larry, Asia Harrison, Anthony Murphy, Kyle Somerville, Christopher Leone, Oswaldo Sandoval, Ethan Anderson, Sydney Carr, Gio Corsi, Elijah Steele, Marcus Brown, Materia Addict, Yusuf, Annette Gonzalez, Shane Ramu? How do you think you say that? This is new.
Ramu.
Welcome to the Turbo Patrons. I'm sorry I butchered your name.
Please tell us how to pronounce it.
Ozzy Mejia, Christian Rodriguez, Nathan Drake.
What?
Yes.
No.
Every month we read his name.
I'm always surprised every month, too.
Troy Spradling, Louis Creech, Donato Sinicho III, Adam Boys, Tony Hahn, and my mama, Teresa Enert.
Woo.
I don't know why
That
she's always
list
at the
is
bottom.
getting
Maybe it's because
longer.
she signed up first.
Save the best for last.
Yeah.
It would make sense that she
probably
signed
was
up
her first
first.
Good
supporter.
old T-Dog.
She's like, oh, my daughter's doing this thing. Let me type it in.
My parents have no idea what I do.
She tells me she listens to the show, but I wonder if she does. Mom, did you hear this? Did you hear me make fun of you?
T-Dog.
I don't think you're ever going to remember this because you don't listen to the show. It's okay. We're a very hardcore video game show. If you don't play video games and you listen to the show, I mean, God love you. I don't know what you're doing here, but
Yeah.
we're glad to have you.
They're here for the... No,
For the
that's pretty
lol.
much it.
For the singing.
For the really good songs, yeah.
Yeah, the really good songs.
The songs, the video games.
But thank you once again. We say this every month, and I will reiterate that we could not do What's Good Games without the incredible support of not only our Turbo patrons, but all of our patrons at patreon.com/what'sgoodgames. If you guys are ever listening to the show and you think that you could toss a buck our way, we'd greatly appreciate it. Any little bit helps. So you can check those out. Again, patreon.com/what'sgoodgames. So now, without further ado, it's time to start crying.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Okay, so
I didn't cry.
I teared up
wanted to
real
cry.
hard. I didn't full on like cry, but I was close. So Brittney, last time you went through the decisions one by one. Did you want to do that again this time?
Absolutely. I have them right here.
Wonderful. So
Wonderful.
to recap what happened in episode 1 and 2, we are at a point where we just got some pretty shocking news that we found out this character, Sarah, is Rachel's biological mother. We don't really get a sense of this other woman. Do you guys remember her name?
Rose.
Rose, yes.
Oh, the
of,
actual
like-
wife?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
like at what point Rose came into the picture of how old Rachel was. Like, has she been there since she was a baby? Clearly, we learn more about this in the opening moments of this scene. So the first opening scene was something that we didn't see during our playthrough, and I understand now why they held it back. So if you guys remember, we had Ashley Birch and Chris Floyd into the studio here to show us the opening of this episode. And they conveniently left a cutscene out of that demo. So in that demo, we essentially get the story from Rachel's dad about how he and Sarah, met and how they fell in love and how they had this baby and then how she suffered from addiction and that she was like this wild spirit and everybody loved her in high school and very much reminiscent of who Rachel is as a character, but then he was never going to be enough for her, that her wild, crazy, passionate personality just needed more, and instead of turning to other healthier outlets, she turned to drug use.
Heroin.
Yeah, needles, we saw. So that's pretty tragic. And essentially the end of that story, that opening scene, ends with him essentially accusing her of caring more about her addiction than about her daughter, which is why he removes her from their home and leaves Sarah and then brings us back to present day. So, Britt, what is the first decision?
So the first decision actually doesn't take place until after you have your moment with Rachel in her bedroom. It's when you are back home and you find your room searched. Did you destroy the plant with soda?
Yes,
I did.
I did.
Yep, so did I.
R.I.P. plant.
81% of people killed the plant with soda, and 19% of people killed the plant with neglect.
Aw.
So the
Well,
plant
like-
dies either way.
It
Yeah,
said,
save the plant.
to be fair, the prompt said water. It didn't say water with soda.
But
So,
she
you
was
think
holding
you're
a
going to be
soda
taking
can.
care of the plant when you hit that button, and then she just dumps soda on it, and you're like, girl,
Girl.
what are you doing? Even I know not to do that, and I kill plants all the time.
That was pretty funny.
Steimer.
So after that moment, you shower, you dye a strand of your hair blue, and you go downstairs, and there's a scene with Joyce and God, what's his name?
David.
David. Thank
Madsen.
you. Step douche. And at one point, David offers you a photograph, trying to relate with Chloe and loss and all that. Did you accept David's photograph?
I
Of
did.
course,
I
I'm
did.
not a monster.
Yeah.
Are you
Everyone
though?
did? Yeah.
Well, I was at a point where I was
Love
like,
you.
listen, Chloe, you're being kind of a bitch. You need to take a step in the direction. Clearly, he's making your mom happy. So this decision comes after you see a scene between Joyce and David where they're kind of dancing in the kitchen.
He's
they're
making
playing
her
music.
eggs.
He's being real sweet to her.
It's Mother's
And-
Day. That's
And
And you're a terrible child that has done nothing for your mother.
yes.
Yeah.
And not to say that Chloe obviously doesn't have her issues for obvious reasons, but like she's so mean to her mom because like her mom lost her partner, lost her husband. Like
Mhm.
it's been tough for Joyce too, and Chloe's just being really insensitive to that.
Right. All
Not
right.
only
The
that, I want to pick a bone
Yeah.
about the fact that
do it.
she just freaking leaves. She's like, it's Mother's Day. I really gotta go, Mom. And like her mom just lets her go. I'd be like, oh hell no. Grab you by the ear. You are like, you're spending the day with me. Like, what do you think you're doing?
Yeah,
I
that.
didn't
just
catch
made me
that it was
mad.
Mother's Day.
Damn.
I missed that.
Yeah. And I know Joyce is trying to create an environment where Chloe feels safe, right? She's like, I want you to come home and I want you to be able to feel like you can just live or whatever. At first, I'm like, that's stupid. What the hell is she doing? That mom, blah, 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 blah. But then I realized growing up, I had friends who had parents like that were like, I don't care if you want to smoke weed, if you want to drink, as long as you come home by a certain time. Granted, Chloe never comes home by curfew anyway. And I was like, okay, like that's realistic. Parents do parent that way sometimes. That was a little weird though.
That's true, but my parents were the exact opposite. Where like we had an alarm on our house, and so you could not sneak out if you tried. You would set the alarm off, and everyone would know.
Over.
And this was the cherry on top. Was that when I left the house? Like I'm the youngest. When I went off to college, guess what stopped getting set at night?
The
The
alarm.
alarm.
Oh no.
Oh, that's hilarious. The next choice, fast forwards. Oh, okay. This ultimately, what did you do with Drew's money? That's kind of this statistic here. So 62% of people did not have Drew's money at the start of the day in episode 3. 29% gave Drew's money to Damon. 1% returned Drew's money to him. 4% donated Drew's money to the firefighter fund, and 4% kept Drew's money.
I didn't have the money at the start of the day.
I had it.
I gave the money to Damon in the hallway because I intervened. I didn't stay in the room with Drew. Or with Mikey. I went out and was like, "Stop beating him. Here's the money. Go away."
Yeah, I
Yeah,
stayed
and
in
that
the room
was
with
what I
Mikey.
did. And that's only 29% of people, which is kind of surprising.
I gave it to Damon, but I gave it to him in episode 3 because I stayed with Mikey, and because I didn't quite really know how it was gonna shake out, and then I still had the money, and I was like, shit, I didn't mean to keep this money. I just have it here.
Did you though?
And then he's a scary drug dealer, so I was like, here, take it. I didn't actually. God, take your $1,000 and leave me alone.
So the next decision takes place at the hospital. So a lot happens between then and then.
Yeah.
Then and then.
And then
Then and then. So the next decision is, did you visit the Norths at the hospital?
Right. So
Yes.
like, let's talk about how we end up at the hospital. Right. So,
Mm-hmm.
the Norths are there because Mikey's arm got broken in my playthrough.
Yeah.
I believe
Drew's
if
knee
you
is busted in mine.
Yeah, because you Drew, right, is the
Drew's
other option.
Drew's knee is busted. Yeah.
But you're there because of
Rachel got stabbed.
Rachel got stab-zored.
yes. So you have this altercation with this drug dealer, Damon. And because what's happening is Chloe is trying to find Sarah so that Rachel can have like a reconciliation with her, because Rachel's parents have said, don't try to find Sarah. We've kind of exiled her from our life. We don't want her here. Don't go look for her. She's not somebody that needs to be part of your life, is what Rachel's dad has said to her. But Rachel,
Not only that she's accepted money every month in order to stay away. So he's essentially saying your mother accepted money over seeing you.
right.
Yeah.
And so he's really kind of set Sarah up as the fall guy, which makes sense. And so Rachel, of course, being a 16-year-old girl who can think for herself, says, like, you don't get to make that decision for me. I want to find her. And so she's asked Chloe, now, Chloe, can you help me do this? And Chloe's like, well, I saw her come out of Frank. So Chloe contacts Frank to be like, well, where is she? And now they're fighting with the drug dealer. And the drug, that whole interchange was super tense. I did not like it. I did not like how aggressive he was being with such young girls.
Yeah.
They really wrote him and played him as like a really like asshole character. And then he ends up stabbing Rachel, and I'm trying to remember how,
because she hits him in the head. So what happens is that the turning point where it becomes more violent is Chloe says Rachel's name, and Damon picks up on it and is like, wait, Rachel Amber, you're the DA's daughter, you're gonna give me some dirt on your dad right now. And then obviously they're like, no, fuck you. And Rachel at some point gets fed up. I think Frank is like, Damon, cool off. But Rachel escalates the situation by taking a piece of wood and hitting Damon over the head with it.
oh yes, the 2x4.
After he already has shown a giant knife that he has. So obviously he picks up his knife, which I think fell on the ground, and then stabs her in the armpit.
You know,
And,
he nicks her artery.
here.
So he nicks a major artery when he cuts her, and she starts to bleed out.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so you got to get the hell out of Dodge. You put her in like your shitty truck.
Yeah, so
that
Frank
you-
pulls off Damon, and then you drive with your, like you said, shitty truck to the hospital.
I did like
and
that
obviously-
moment of Chloe fixing the truck up. I thought it was really sweet.
That was cute.
Yeah, that was cute.
That was really cute. Then obviously the Norths are there because they already had their run-in with Damon themselves. So, did you ladies visit the Norths at the hospital?
yes.
Yes, of course.
Okay, 72% of people did, 2% did not. I'm assuming that people didn't, like, they just walked too far and then the cutscene ensued and like, whoops.
Probably.
26% sparred with Drew over pudding.
I didn't get that option.
No,
I didn't either.
I don't know how that
I
even
didn't try to so there's Drew has the thing of pudding, and I just looked at it and I was like, oh, that looks good. And he's like, yeah, that looks good. Or he's like, yeah, I'm gonna eat it.
I didn't even try.
I'm wondering if you kept doing it, maybe you would. I don't know. It's weird.
I'm not a pudding
I don't-
person, so I
I
just
love
didn't go to the
pudding.
pudding.
Yeah, I
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
care that
pudding.
much because it didn't
pudding's
look
so
that good to me.
Though. Now I want pudding.
Pudding.
Butterscotch
Pudding.
pudding is one of my faves. So good.
Oh, yeah.
Girl,
good shit.
my family makes a butterscotch pudding bar dessert.
What?
This is like
That you're gonna make this
Oh my
weekend
God.
so that
so
we
North
can eat
Dakota.
it
I
on
can't
Monday?
even tell you. I'll make it for you guys. I'll
Oh
get the
my
recipe
God.
from my aunt.
Ugh.
That'd be great.
Are we cooking
Yay.
again? Let's cook.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Cooking party.
Um,
Ramen noodles
and
and butterscotch
zero-
bars.
Butterscotch is good. 0% of people played tabletop with Mikey. No, I'm
What?
wondering if that. No.
I
I'm
didn't get the
wondering.
option.
I'm wondering because I played tabletop with
I
Mikey.
played.
What I'm wondering this means is if maybe Drew had been hospitalized, then maybe you had the option to play tabletop with
Yeah,
Mikey.
if Drew, so when you walk in, if Drew is the one being hospitalized, Mikey and God, I forgot her name.
Steph.
Girl, Steph are sitting there with the Dungeons and Dragons book open, in his room playing. So I saw that
But
and
I
just
thought
didn't think.
I couldn't do anything with it. Could you, Alexa?
I didn't try.
I did. I was like, oh, I want to like finish her. I want to like be the barbarian.
But you
But
can.
anytime I hit talk to them, they just like did throwaway lines, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess
Interesting.
it's time for me to go.
So in my playthrough, Mikey was hospitalized, and I got to play D&D, the final round of D&D with Mikey and Steph, and even Drew got in on the action, and that was really cute.
Yeah, it was
Um,
fun. I
Did-
died at the end of mine. Did you win or did you lose?
I sacrificed myself in a sense. So there's no stat on this, but in the end, what I decided to do, because Mikey had like this bracelet or something that would allow him to like survive the impending final attack that would kill everyone and everything. And I'm like, wear it, and I will sacrifice myself, and that's how I died.
That's how I died too, but then Mikey's character died in my playthrough.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
no. I wonder if you failed the talkback or whatever.
I
smack
failed
talk.
every single talkback. I did not win a single talkback. I did not master that mechanic. I did not understand it. I tried to figure it out, and every talkback in every episode I failed.
I only
I
lost.
kind of like that idea of Chloe. Like Chloe's still trying though, like but she just keeps fucking it up.
So I succeeded my smack talk, so I'm wondering if that's why his character lived. So I was
Maybe.
just like super encouraging and like super like into it, and I think that's probably why I
Maybe.
succeeded.
Yeah, like maybe like
Um,
in the first, like if the first game you could be encouraging to him, or you could kind of like be like disinterested. So maybe the
Yeah.
stats go back to like how you played the game the first time.
Yeah, I
Um,
just totally LARPed, and I was like, yeah, we can do this, and we did.
I only
died.
lost
totally
one.
LARPed.
I only lost one talkback in this entire series, and it's the one with Elliot from this episode.
Oh, I lost one, and it was the principal in episode 1 or 2.
Oh, yeah, I
I was
remember
like,
that.
oops.
I
Is
lost them all. I'm terrible at talking back. Bad at it.
But you're not in real life. You're really quite good at it.
Oh, thanks.
The next statistic comes from those who donated to the Firefighters Fund. So 95% did not have anything to donate. 1% donated $250. 4% donated $1,000, and 0% donated $1,250.
Wow.
I did not have any money to
1,050.
donate. Also, I did
Right.
not see where I was supposed to donate. When this
There was
when
a-
this decision came up, I did not know that it was an option.
Yeah, there was the little box in the hospital, which I had no money, so
Did
I
you
ain't got nothing for you.
did you guys listen to what the firefighters were talking about?
Yes. About
So,
the
Yeah,
fire
but I
put
forgot
itself
already.
out.
so the fire.
Oh, yeah,
The
yeah.
firefighters
fire
are
was
like the
gone.
fire just went out. The fire just it put itself out. At the
Right when
same
Rachel
time,
gets injured severely.
Rachel, yeah, at the same time Rachel is bleeding out in the hospital. Coincidence?
No,
Yeah.
clearly not a coincidence.
She is the fire.
So Rachel wakes up, and you visit and talk with her, and of course she still wants to pursue her mother. And she's like, "Hey, here's where the house key's located. Here's my dad's code to his office. Please go in there and snoop around and see what information you can dig up on my mom." So do we want to talk about that, because the next decision comes down to who you revealed as the snitch to Damon.
Yes. So, in that scene, you do a lot of digging around in the DA's office looking for dirt. I remember looking around and seeing things that I thought were pretty normal. I remember being confused about the choice options, about who you could kind of pin it on.
Mhm.
Obviously, like Sheldon, I recognize as like the douchebag from the mill. But the other guy, that one guy, I was like, I didn't know who it was, but like he's the one who, like, if you read his file, he like had in his court testimony like confessed to like being a snitch, and so I was like, oh well, that's the guy. But then I picked him to be the one that I ratted out to Damon, and then it like turned on me. I got confused.
Wait,
Turned
which
on
one
you
did you
how?
pick?
What
the guy
happened?
with like the Hawaiian tattoos or the Samoan tattoos?
No, not the
'Cause that's the actual snitch.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. You have to dig around a few times. It's not in the files, it's on the computer.
I must have missed it.
The computer, if you pull up the file, it'll say it's the doorman from the mill. And Chloe has a thing where she's like, "Oh, it's that guy, but he was really cool to me." So I did not tell him that it was him, and I tried to pin it on someone else.
That's what I did.
What do you mean it turned on you? What happened?
So Brittney, what's the decision there?
17% convinced Damon that Gerald, I'm thinking of Geralt, was the snitch. 53% convinced Damon that Sheldon was the snitch, and 30% revealed to Damon that Thunder. So Thunder is the bouncer. That's the actual snitch. No, Gerald or Sheldon? Who is who? Because I thought it was just Thunder,
Throwaway
Frank.
characters.
Sheldon is
Yeah.
the guy from the first episode that Chloe gets in a fight with at the concert.
But wasn't Frank also an option to convince that he was the snitch?
No.
No, Frank
No,
had a
'cause you
file
say,
you
like,
could look at.
Frank's not
Yeah.
it.
But Frank
Yeah, okay.
wasn't a snitch option.
Sheldon is that asshole from the first episode.
Gerald is the guy that I convinced Damon was the snitch. But what happens later is that, like, in the text messages, like, you can read the messages between Damon and this guy, and he's like, "No way, dude, it wasn't me." Blah blah blah. And I was
That's
like,
what I got to.
And I was like, "Wait."
Yeah, but I
you are
figured,
the
like,
snitch.
of course he's gonna say that. What is a snitch gonna be like? Oh yeah, it was me. Like, come on.
That's fair. That's a fair point.
Yeah.
So one of the whole episode, I was a blubbering mess. I cried more during this episode. I mean, I'm talking like tears were in my face. Sometimes my face got a little like contorted because I was trying not to ugly cry. It was very emotional for me. But one of the first things, so I was kind of riding that emotion wave. But one of the first things that really took me out of the experience, I know it's part of the in-game shenanigans, but when you can graffiti the dad's desk
Yeah.
and call it like the booze
Yeah.
drawer, I'm like, you know what I mean?
No.
I feel like if I was in that in that room, everything I picked up, I would put back down. I would be wearing gloves because he's a fucking DA. Like he probably gonna
True.
fingerprint all of that stuff.
Yep.
You are smarter than Chloe.
And so I was like, really, at that point, I was like, okay, this is just a game. Like this is just something to mark off, like on the like achievement, the trophy, whatever. That's all. That's like one of my only issues.
No,
with-
I'm glad you brought this up because I think there was a turning point in the storytelling of the DA at the very beginning of the episode. Because when you are coming out of episode 2, you're thinking, like, when you meet her dad in their house for dinner, you're thinking this guy is like a bona fide asshole, right? Like he's a prick, he's cheating on his wife, he's kissing some random girl in a park. Like, you don't like this guy. And so you come into episode 3 kind of heated about it, and then you get the whole story. And you hear about his love and his compassion for his daughter and how he made this tough decision to leave this woman that he obviously cared very deeply for because he knew it was the best thing for his daughter's well-being long term to get her away from an addict as her parent. And like I feel like it really changed my opinion of him as a character to the point where I was like, okay, I think I can be on your side now. And it I guess kept having conflicting opinions about like snooping in his office and going against his wishes. I mean, obviously it leads up to what the ultimate decision will be, which we'll get to in a little bit. But like during that scene, I know exactly the feeling you're talking about, Brittney. It felt wrong that I was graffitiing his desk because I felt like I was on his side now. At that point, I was like, yeah, I'm snooping into your things, but like vandalizing.
Yeah, but then
his
you
desk?
find, I mean, granted, I agree with you guys. Like, I did think the graffiti there was a little bit much, especially because it's on the, like, I thought she was going to draw on the bottle of the sherry, like the sherry bottle, and I was like, that would have been okay. But, like, drawing on the desk was like, all right, girl, calm down. But when, I feel like it starts to unravel when you're in the office, like his good guy halo, because you find the letters that he's never given Chloe,
And
and you
then-
find the voided checks that she's stopped cashing for about a year, I think. So like you start to see that, yes, although he had good intentions from the start, it's sort of becoming twisted now into
Right.
Yeah.
something
And-
more negative.
And then you find
mean,
like the money stash, and then you realize
Yes.
that like he's been in cahoots with Damon for something. Like I didn't feel like that was entirely explained why the two of them are like have like he has a burner phone connected to Damon, and the two of them are like in cahoots or whatever. But I just feel
think
like
it
that whole
was- Sorry, go ahead.
No, I just feel like that whole like so I never quite trusted him. Like yeah, like the beginning, the front half of episode 3 was kind of like, okay, well he's doing it for his daughter, but like I kind of got a sense that like, okay, if he's willing to like cut this woman out of his daughter's life, like what else is he willing to do? Because he had that. If you snoop around the house at the end of episode 2, he has a file with like Sarah and Frank in it, like sitting in his living room. So it's like, what is going on here? So when I found the money and I found the burner and all that other stuff and the evidence, I was just like, yeah, this totally makes sense. Like, it's a crooked DA.
Seriously.
Yep.
I mean, I can I was like, I get it. You want to protect your daughter. Like, sure. But then when I'm like, okay, you're working with like this guy you're trying to catch, that you're telling everyone you're working so hard to catch. You want to take care of her. I'm not sure. Obviously, I don't think James wanted Damon to kill off Sarah. I think he just, because he injected her with drugs, right? Isn't that all he did later on in the...
Yeah.
So, why? I don't know.
It seems to me like it's for her father being one of the bigger examples of this. I think one of the messages of Before the Storm in general has been how like good intentions, like intentions that are good and actions that are carried out because you want to protect someone or for the benefit of someone else. Like, you may think like, yes, this is the thing that I have to do to protect this person, but how very easily like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, like how very easily your intentions can warp and how badly those intentions can warp you. Like, I'm thinking about Rachel's dad, but I'm also thinking about like Elliot. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Elliot.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Which is the next.
I didn't like that.
This scene, I have not felt so uncomfortable in a scene. So I actually like was kind of triggered by this scene because I had something similar like this happen to me like when I was like younger. So this scene made me very, 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 very anxious, but I think it's one of those, like, it's one of the scenes in this series, in the Before the Storm series, that I think has probably been more well written. Like, it was very scary. It was very tense. Like, Chloe trying to like you have the option, like I think you only have like one shot. You can either convince him to be like, hey man, it's okay. You can tell him everything that's going on, which I elected not to do. I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, I didn't tell him anything
What is
either
the
because I
next
was like,
decision,
number one,
Brittney?
get the fuck out of my
Yeah,
business.
Brittney, what's the next
I don't
decision?
care about you. I forgot who you were, and then you showed up at the hospital with this dumb hot dog stuffed animal balloon thing, and I was like, oh yeah, you exist. Bye.
Yeah, and he follows. So Elliot follows Chloe to Rachel's house, comes into the thing, and is like, Chloe, what's going on? I care about you. Tell me what's going on. And if you don't tell him what's going on, he gets violent in a way that's very much like, I care about you more than anyone else, and you owe me. I've given you my emotions. You owe me yours, which is an incredibly scary, incredibly like, just like real weird, like awful thing that happens. And you can kind of see like in the first episode when he was like, hey, you want to go to the play together? I was like, okay, like this relationship is probably not going to survive the series. And every time you interact with him, Chloe's like, no, I'm sorry, not now. And I was kind of like, I really hope this doesn't come back to bite me in the ass. And I didn't think about it. I was just like, sorry, Elliot, not today. Bye. And then that scene happened in Rachel's house. And I was just like, oh, fuck. Like I screwed this up. What are the decisions around that?
So there's no stats on that. Yeah,
because it's a back talk.
It's a back talk.
Wait, did you fail this too, Andrea? That back talk?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
You only get one shot.
I'm pretty sure I failed every back talk.
So does he like figure it out?
Well, no. He starts asking you questions, and you, as Chloe, have some options to get out. You can either try to walk past him, at which point he stands in front of you, and then locks the door and turns on the alarm system and is like, no one is leaving this room until you understand what I'm telling you, which is fucking scary.
And then doesn't he shove her?
He shoves her.
He's like, why did you make me do that?
Yeah. Very like super,
all right, you're gone.
Super toxic masculinity bad. And then you have the opportunity. What I did as Chloe is I secretly dialed, like you dial 911 on the burner phone and you leave it open. And depending on what you say, you're trying to get to alert the person on the phone where you are and what's happening without him figuring it out. And I fucked it up immediately. And he was like, what? And like it got really violent and bad, and I guess you just like have to leave or whatever. But it was really upsetting.
I successfully dialed sneak dialed 911, and then it ended because we heard the sirens.
Yeah, same here.
And
Oh, see,
he's
I
like,
broke
"The
a window.
I broke the window too.
I had to break the window.
But you
Oh,
had the
wow.
sirens show up, Steimer?
Yeah, it's like woo woo, police are here, and then I think you kind of go like, oh, and you like shove him back in the room, and you like run out, and you're like, take care of his body. You're just like,
So what happened to me was I heard the sirens, and he's like, because to win the back talk, I just kind of played like the victim in the sense that I was like, I'm suffering, Elliot, and I need your help. What you blah blah blah. And so he's like, Chloe, the sirens are here, but it's okay. I'll take care of everything. We'll be fine. And so I'm just like, okay. And then he opens the door, or she opens the door, I can't remember. And then she just kind of like walks past him and sneaks out. And I think he's feeling like, okay, I'm going to take care of this. I'm the big bad guy, blah, blah, blah. And then meanwhile, you make your escape.
So.
And then shove him.
So then.
I can't remember if she shoved him, but I remember like it wasn't a walk out the door. It was like as soon as he opened the door, she kind of bolted and was like, bye.
So Brittney, in the final montage that shows the status of all of the characters at the end of the story, what was Elliot doing for you if you kind of got him to think he was saving you?
Oh, I didn't see this.
I didn't see that either.
Because in mine, after I broke the window and ran, and basically the whole time was like, sorry dude. The last time you see him, he's packed up his entire dorm room.
Oh yeah,
and he rips the photo
because he's been kicked out of school,
and he rips the photo in half. Yeah.
So it sounds like it was the same ending, but yeah,
Definitely
same
a
thing happened.
creeper. Yeah.
Yeah, that was scary. That was a really scary scene.
I'm conflicted about this scene for a couple of reasons. I appreciate that, they are tackling a very like real issue that people go through, but I feel like I got more upset at the fact that they gave so much time in this episode to Elliot, this character who really doesn't play into the main narrative that's happening right now. Took this entire scene to just essentially make him a throwaway character. He's been a throwaway character this whole series.
Well, the reason, I actually feel like the reason that they did this, because this whole thing sneaks up on you. I don't think anyone really saw this coming. It sneaks up on you. It drags on. It's dangerous. It's tense. People who go off the deep end and people who do these things, nobody ever expects everyone expects everyone to just be a decent human being. If you're friends with someone, this is a classic example of Chloe not seeing the warning signs, or maybe Elliot not getting the help that he needs. These kind of things happen out of the blue. So I can understand why they took a throwaway character and were and now this thing is happening, because that's how these situations happen. If it had been someone like Nathan, I feel like we would have all expected it. Because it would have been too neat. It would have been putting a little bow on something, and here's more bad behavior from this guy. You expect to have bad behavior. Chloe didn't expect one of her friends to do this to her, so I can see why they wrote it this way and why they structured it this way.
Interesting, because what I was wondering, I mean, that makes sense. I was like, okay, how the hell is Chloe how is she gonna get out of here? She's clearly put her fingerprints all over everything. She's drawn on the cabinets, money is missing, and he's a DA. He's going to figure it out. And then when I saw Elliot in there, I'm like, okay, this is really tense. But I was wondering, is this just an easy scapegoat for Chloe? Because they're going to obviously think that Elliot was one who broke in. I mean, assuming they're not going to dust for fingerprints or anything like that. But
I mean, that too.
Maybe a combination.
He's going to save the situation.
I want to backtrack on a couple interesting things that happened that we didn't talk about. The first one is in the hospital. Did you listen in on the conversation about Nathan Prescott?
No.
Yes.
I did not either.
What is it?
Do you remember? Okay, what I remember of it, no, I was a blubbering mess. Was it a psychiatrist that the doctor was trying to convince his father? He's like, hey, basically, your son is showing a lot of warning signs. I'm worried that he's mentally ill, some really bad shit could happen. And the dad's like, my son is totally fine. There's nothing that my son needs. And then they shut the door and you can't hear anymore.
Oh my
God. That was some terrible foreshadowing. Yeah.
Yes.
The other thing in the hospital was when you are playing D&D with Mikey and Drew and Steph as Chloe, there comes a point in my playthrough, and I talked about this earlier, where it's just you and Mikey and you're surrounded by all of this evil, and it's Mikey's like, okay, I can do something, but it's gonna kill me or all of us or you. and Chloe says something, and I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was again like foreshadowing to the end of Life is Strange, where she sacrifices herself for Max for the world essentially, and she's like, "Hey, if one of us, at least one of us, should make it out of here." Blah 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 blah. And like again, it was much more moving than that. But I would encourage you to go back and watch that, listen to her dialogue during that moment, because it's a gut punch. Because it's almost like she knows what's going to happen to her. Granted, she doesn't, but it was a very hard moment.
I definitely need to play this
Yeah, that was
episode again.
Yeah.
The thing that I never cried or was even like close to crying, but it did like give me a sad when you're like, she's like, Chloe, it's gonna take more than that to get rid of me, and you're like all these things about like, oh, we almost lost her, blah blah. And I'm like, you guys have no idea. Like,
Also, like,
you're
so
about to.
hard.
Also, like, Rachel's biological mother is addicted to like opiates, and that's what Nathan overdosed her on and killed her on, which is ironic and awful.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay. So this all takes us to, after you have this information, you go to the hospital, and you can either reveal the truth to Rachel, or, well, actually, no, a lot happens. Sorry. You meet up with Sarah, and Damon's there at the mill.
At the
the
old,
game.
the old burned down mill.
Yeah. And I had the money for Damon. Does everyone have the money for Damon? Yes.
I had
Yes.
given the money to Damon previously in episode 2.
The new money. The money.
No,
the
the
new
new money.
money.
The money from the office.
Yes, I had the money.
The bigger money.
The bigger money. And so what happened in my playthrough, I'm pretty sure it was like the same for everyone. You walk in, and Sarah's tied up, and Damon's like about to inject her with heroin. I'm assuming I thought it was like a death drug or something that would like kill her.
I
but-
thought he was gonna overdose her on heroin.
That's what I
I
thought
thought too.
too.
And you walk in, and you're like, "Hey, I just gathered up the courage. I have your money. Everything's gonna be fine. It doesn't have to go out this way." And you're playing as Chloe, obviously, and obviously that doesn't fly well. And then Frank appears. You see the last thing you see before Chloe passes out by being hit is basically Frank and Damon fighting, and Sarah just kind of slumped over in her desk. Correct? Did I miss any important details?
No.
That is essentially
Yeah,
it.
that's it.
And then this was weird because you wake up, and I thought this was like a dream sequence.
I did too. I was
Okay.
like, this is surely not real.
No.
And she's dead because, like, why would you just inject someone with a normal amount of heroin?
Yeah.
Like,
And she's just sitting there like smoking a cigarette, and it's kind of like hazy, and there's like echoes, like the things that would make you think like this is a dream sequence.
Right. similar to
right.
the ones with her dad that she's had several times throughout this episode.
Right. And then Chloe and Sarah have a conversation. Sarah's essentially like, "Please don't tell Rachel that this happened. Please don't tell her, blah, blah, blah. Don't tell her about her father. She deserves to have a good father. She deserves not to have that taken away from her. Please don't tell her anything." A lot. So at this point, which is baffling to me, I thought that I had romanced Rachel because we had talked about it so many times, but clearly I had not, because I had Rachel's bracelet. So at that point, before Sarah was able to walk away, I was able to give her the bracelet.
See, I didn't
I
get
didn't
the
have
bracelet.
that.
I didn't
No.
have the bracelet from episode 2. I didn't.
Right. Because you guys kissed her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we kissed.
Yeah. So I took her bracelet, and I was able to give her the bracelet. And
That's a
that
shitty
ultimately-
thing for them to do, to make you to get the better ending where you have the bracelet by not kissing her. That
Right.
makes me mad.
Wait, how is that the better ending?
because
not
you get a scene at the end where Rachel meets Sarah.
If you have the
Only if you have the bracelet?
only if you have the bracelet.
What
It's like
the fuck? Sorry.
It's Chloe. So it's Chloe and Rachel on the bench, the iconic bench in Arcadia Bay, and Sarah just kind of like walks out of the woods in a sense, and Rachel's like, "Ah!" and then they hug and they embrace, and
Are
it's
you
really sweet.
fucking kidding me?
I'm not. I looked
Deck
it
9
up.
games. That's a dirty
here-
trick. That's a dirty trick. That
Yeah.
makes me
Especially
upset.
because it's theoretically harder to kiss her than it is to get her bracelet.
It is. It's
So,
harder
like,
to kiss
why
her.
do I?
I worked hard for that fucking action, and now you're gonna punish me?
Just like
So-
real life.
Jesus!
Yeah.
Just like real life, Steimer. Just like
I
real
don't
life.
know if this came. I don't know if this came into play when they were making the decision that the only way Sarah gets to meet Rachel is if you give her the bracelet. But because in Life is Strange, even if you romance Rachel and Before the Storm, you know that relationship's doomed anyway. Because she hooks up with Frank and she hooks up with Mr. Jefferson.
Yeah.
I don't know if that came into play there, but anyway, I got that scene in the end. But we're skipping ahead. Did you tell Rachel the truth?
No.
Yes.
Fuck that bitch.
No.
I told her the truth. So
Yeah.
it's really close. 49% of people told Rachel the truth. 51% did not tell Rachel the truth.
Wow, so it's
I'm
pretty
really
split.
mad.
Yeah, that was kind of a hard decision.
I'm
to
really
make, right?
mad.
What happens when you tell her?
When you tell her
She
the
freaks
truth.
out.
Yeah.
She there's no words ever really spoken besides you see Chloe starting to say like, I gotta tell you something, and then it kind of like fades out and
Music
you just
plays,
see Rachel's like expressions.
talk.
Like it's it's incredibly well done. I would encourage that you watch it, and like the look of like just pure pissed offness in Rachel's eyes as her dad comes in is just like gut wrenching.
Yeah.
They did such a good job at nailing that moment. But I don't think that changes really the ending at all.
Yeah, so before this decision, I left the screen on and I went to the internet and was like, what do I do, internet? I was like, which ending do I pick? Because I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but I wanted to know like what happened. So I'd like looked at the walkthrough of all the different endings, which is how I found out about the bracelet thing. And I knew that I didn't have the bracelet. And I was like, this is bullshit.
Fucker.
So I decided to just go with the ending because like in my mind, I'm like, I knew that Rachel was going to die. And so I was like, I know that she's going to die relatively soon, a couple of years. And so I'm going to spare her. I'm like, it'd be different if I think if I knew that she was going to live, or if I had even the perception that she was going to live a long, happy life, that she would eventually find out the truth anyway. And so I would have told her the truth. But I was like, she's only got a couple years left. Let her have some bliss with a happy family and not have the strife and the anguish. And so I didn't tell her.
Yeah, that was kind of my thought too.
So had that scene play out. You too.
There's no point in telling her this. Like, just, yeah, exactly. Like, let her have some moment of happiness. And also, I don't know, I guess the whole time, and especially in this episode, I felt like I started to dislike Rachel because Rachel to me is what Chloe is in life, and I find this interesting. I think Chloe's probably end up mirroring Rachel's behavior after she dies, because Rachel pushes and manipulates Chloe a lot, especially in this episode. Like, oh, please find my mom. Like, ask your fucking dad if you really want to meet her that badly. Like, just ask your father. Eventually, he'll probably get worn down. He'll let you meet her.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, like, forcing Chloe to go through all these, like, extremely dangerous. Obviously, she gets stabbed. Like, Rachel gets stabbed in the arm, almost dies. And then she's like, but I still want to find her, so can you go, hang out with the drug dealers again and, like, try and figure this out? I got stabbed, almost fatally stabbed, but, like, you should be fine. Go ahead. And I felt like Chloe does similar stuff to Max in Life is Strange, where she doesn't have a lot of regard for the other person's life. And like, hey, when a Max uses her powers, she has nosebleeds. She's clearly physically affected by this, but keep using them because it's benefiting me, and I want to get to the end of this road.
Yeah, Chloe learns that emotional manipulation from Rachel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so I did find that interesting, but it also made me angry. I was like, evil people. I don't like it.
I was so torn with emotions at the end of it because like I was mad at Rachel for like sending me out, and then I was mad at Sarah for asking me to not tell Rachel, and then at the end of it all, like without Rachel getting to meet Sarah, like I think my biggest takeaway and what was like really sad for me, and like even like seeing them happy, was that like I didn't get to see enough of them being happy together. I didn't get to see them not in like strife, and not like I didn't get to see them enjoying each other's company and getting to hang out. Like that's why I really loved that scene in the junkyard, because it was like this one moment where it's like they got to share this like moment of happiness in like an otherwise kind of bleak narrative experience for them. And that was tough. How did you guys feel about the ending? Let's the credits sequence aside.
You mean the scene after the credits?
Yeah, before we get there, how did you feel about the way that it ended after you made your big decision?
I'm so fucking mad because I didn't have the fucking bracelet, so I couldn't meet her fucking mom.
So
That's
that's part of the
such
reason
bullshit.
why I told Rachel the truth was I'm like, okay, I know this girl only has like 3 more years to live. I'm like, that sucks. Clearly, like, she knows that she just found out that this mom is like a thing that exists that she never knew. And I was like, all right, so if I like tell her like, hey, this is what's going on, your mom is out there, dad's been a shady asshole. I'm like, if I don't tell her that, she's not gonna be able to meet her. So I'm like, all right. And I may or may not have looked online and learned that if I tell her.
I'm not the only one.
Wait, so if you had given her the bracelet but had not protected her, she wouldn't have met her?
I don't know that.
Oh,
the part
okay,
I looked up was the conversation with Sarah and Chloe, because I thought that was like a dream sequence. So I looked at the spoilers of your decision you make during that, after the scene had already played out, and it said, note that as Sarah leaves, you can give her the bracelet, and this will trigger a scene at the end of the game where Rachel gets to meet Sarah. So I mean, knowing how the game was going to, knowing her fate already, I was pleased with my ending because she did get to meet her mom, and that was kind of my ultimate goal. But I knew there wouldn't be a lot of happy people who didn't have the bracelet to give her.
Yep, that was me.
I feel like after Before the Storm, their relationship makes more sense because both of them come from essentially broken homes where they don't trust their parents. So that makes a lot of sense. But unfortunately, it does explain a lot of basically how shitty Chloe is in the main game, because she was emotionally manipulated for so long and now she's pushing these behaviors on Max. But also like her whole support system, which was just this one other girl, is gone. Like that, like
again, her dad, her dad being such a pillar for her, losing him, and then like being like, okay, well, you're sort of a replacement for me, one person I trust, and then to have her gone as well.
And that's the other thing about her dad. Like the last conversation she has with her ghost dad is her being like, did you ever lie to me? Like she starts to question whether or not the good relationship she had with her father when he was alive was a lie or not. Like she starts to question everything, seeing how basically every adult around her is lying or hiding something, or is being manipulated, or like Rachel's mom just being totally complacent in these awful things that are happening. So Chloe, by the end of this series, doesn't trust anyone. And I think the most upsetting takeaway for this series was not necessarily knowing that Chloe found this person and Rachel's going to die, but like just how shaken Chloe's faith was in literally everybody. The fact that she's questioning her memories with her father, who we've up till now seen, like her father was her rock. Like she loved her father. Like his death completely broke her, and having her go back being like, well, did I have the kind of relationship I thought I had? Just crushed me.
I also think though that Chloe doesn't give Joyce enough credit. Like they've never set Joyce up as anything other than a dedicated, loving mother, and no matter what she does, Chloe just continues to push her away. And that is incredibly frustrating for me, because I see, parallels to people that I know in like real life and like having these situations, and I'm just like, but like Joyce is there, and like this idea that Chloe is perpetually alone, that she lost her dad and lost Rachel and lost Max. Like, no, Joyce is desperately trying to be there for her, and she just keeps pushing her away, and that made me so angry. I'm like, don't do that to your moms, everybody. Your moms want to be in your life. Let them be there. Call your mom tonight after you listen to the podcast.
Oh my god, I finished this episode when I was home in Connecticut, and after I finished it, I like wandered out to the living room where like my dad was watching TV, and I was just like, hi Dad, and he was like, did you play something sad? And I'm like, yeah. There was
That's
a dad
so funny
in it.
because
Like
I called my mom after I finished that episode, and she doesn't know shit about games, but she acts very interested, like a good mom. And I'm like telling her all this backstory. I talk about 25 minutes about Life is Strange and this game and how it affected me. And she's like, oh wow, honey, oh wow. Well, she's like, go have some whiskey and go sit in the hot tub and just like calm down. I was like, okay.
That's amazing.
God, the scenes with her dad wrecked me every time. Just an emotional, very like visceral episode. There's nothing good happened in this episode except for when she met her mom.
mm-hmm.
That was just
that didn't happen for 3/4 of us.
So the final statistic is 88% of people, for 88% of people, Rachel did not meet her mom, and only 12% met her
That
mother.
to me is a giant fuck up.
That is a fuck up.
I love this game and I like Deck 9 a lot, but to me, when you have a choice like that that's so one-sided, and when I played, it was 91-9. Like 91% of people had not met her. And I'm like, that to me means that something in your pathing, in your narrative's branching, you fucked up somewhere.
Right. Also, that's not fair to tell players that you have to work hard to get the kiss in episode 2. But if you work hard to get that thing in episode 2, you still can't get the thing in episode 3. That is not fair.
And it doesn't make sense. I mean, I feel like, because I have the bracelet, I feel like if I was like Rachel's girlfriend, I could be like, Sarah, Rachel is like a beautiful person. I love her so much. Here's a photo we took of each other, or something that would keep the wheels turning in Sarah's head. So I understand your frustration. It just seems odd.
It was a frustrating choice for me as a player that not only did I not know the significance of the bracelet in the moment, but that they would lock off such a huge, impactful choice behind something in a previous episode, so that I'm forced to go back and replay not just episode 3, but I had to replay episode potentially 1 and 2 to make sure that I have the right choices lined up to be able to get the bracelet instead of the other option. And it was tough, but I will say, as tough as that was, not getting to have that moment with Rachel and Sarah, that post-credit scene was fucking
unnecessary,
devastating. I don't think it was unnecessary. I think they needed. I think we talked about this in our last spoiler cast. That we were like, how are they going to connect it? How are they going to get from where we are in episode 2 to like what we know happens in Life is Strange?
Oh my god, it just hurt. It just hurt.
I apparently missed this. I need to go on YouTube and watch it.
Oh, you didn't see
What?
it?
Because what happened was I was playing this game and I had a presentation early in the morning, and so as soon as it was over, I was like, I have to go to bed. It's past midnight. So I like put the PS4 in sleep mode, forgot that there would be an end credit scene, and went to bed because I had to. And now I'm like, oh shit, there probably was an end credit scene.
You should watch it, but for people who are in your position that also didn't watch it, I'm going to describe it. Essentially, it's a scene where it kind of like fades up, and we see a phone that's like vibrating silently, like someone's trying to call.
It says Chloe calling.
17 missed calls.
And we're in the basement in the dark room, and you can see like the camera flash. You can like hear the pop of the camera flash in the background, and it's like the phone is just ringing. It's like missed calls, Chloe calling, and it's like it like that fucking pulled at me in such a way that it made me just like hurt. I was like,
I don't think I've ever gasped. Like, I knew something was coming. No one had spoiled it for me, but I had seen people say, like, oh my god, that post-credit scene, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, crap. I knew it was going to be a gut puncher anyway without reading those. So I had played through, and I had to break the game up in 2 parts because the 3rd episode, because it was too emotional for me. So I stepped away, I come back, I wrap it up, I'm watching the credits. And Jason and Reb, like, walk in, they're like, hey, what are you doing? And I'm all, like, pinky puff-eyed, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I love you, but can you just please like leave the room for a few minutes? I'm like, because I have a feeling I'm about to have a moment. So they left, and I'm like, okay, what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? I thought it would maybe show like a Chloe posting wanted photos of missing photos of Rachel, you know, like the flyers or whatnot. Yeah. And then when I heard like the vibrating and I literally like put my hands over my head like this, and I gasped so loud, and my face contorted and it scrunched, and I just started ugly crying. It wrecked me. Completely wrecked me.
I like you. I was expecting like her putting up posters or her being missing or something, but I feel like showing that image like actually in the dark room, like maybe in the moment that she fucking dies, like is real. It was too close. Like it was just too close.
No, I think it was a smart move, because I feel like in Life is Strange, Rachel is such an aloof character that she's so untouchable that you don't really know who she is. You have no connection to her. And that even when you find out, when Chloe finds out that, you know, like the body that they found is Rachel in the junkyard, it doesn't have that same weight that it does now that we've met Rachel, that we've seen Rachel, that we've seen this relationship between Chloe and Rachel, and like what happens to her and how she's brutalized, I feel like is so much more impactful now, knowing who she is as a person, instead of her just being like a Jane Doe, like,
Yeah.
And that's, I think, why that scene was important, to be like, this terrible fucking thing happens to this beautiful person who has this really unique relationship with this protagonist. And I think they tied it together in a way that they needed to without overstating it. No?
No.
So sad.
I know. No doubt. Like, it's sad. It's tragic. And like, it reminds me how I don't know if I'd go as far as saying that Don't Nod jumped the shark in like episode 5 and like went off the deep end with what was happening in that story.
Oh no, and that like Twin Peaks nightmare world, yes, that was
Yeah.
a shark. That was several sharks jumping all at once.
But I feel like the work that the Deck 9 did kind of brought a little bit more legitimacy to that crazy story of this professor turned like pedophile photographer guy doing like rapey things in his basement. Like like that whole thing felt a little bit far-fetched, a little bit too like Law and Order SVU for me.
A little bit too Twin Peaks, yes.
But with the way that they set it up now, like it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking what happens to her.
I went back and watched the scene where they discover Rachel's body
Ugh.
again. I read some Wikipedia entries. Basically, every time that Rachel is mentioned, I went through and like read that instance for Life is Strange. And now, yeah, like you said, Andrea, having that perspective, it's like, oh, like when Max finds that letter to Chloe where she's essentially saying she's found someone who's completely changed her life. She's talking about Jefferson. Every time you see the doe, that's a symbol of Rachel. And it's just like, oh God, I want to play it again. But I'm a little... Now, I know 3 years passed between Before the Storm and Life is Strange, but I'm worried, like, seeing the characters that I feel like have been evolved in Before the Storm and then seeing them in Life is Strange. I don't know if that would dampen my experience. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was hoping that there was going to maybe be a moment between Rachel and Frank that set up their ultimate friendship, or potentially more than a friendship down the line, because obviously in Life is Strange, you find the photos of Frank and Rachel together, and it indicates that they have some kind of a close relationship, if not a romantic. I assumed it was a romantic relationship.
It is,
and so
yeah.
clearly, like, if you are, even if you're good friends, if not, like more than friends with Rachel at the end of this, she clearly leaves Chloe romantically between now and her death, because she also, like, is hanging out with Nathan, and there's certainly a lot that happens in those 3 years, and that's life. Life can change really dramatically.
Life,
in
you might
3
say,
years.
is strange.
Indeed.
That was great.
It is. But yeah, I was kind of hoping to see a little bit of like, even of just like a one-liner or something that like opened the door for what's gonna happen with Chloe and Frank. But
You mean with
alas.
Rachel and Frank?
Yes, sorry, Rachel and Frank.
Yeah, because that is a good point, because I mean, Chloe is the only one who really interacts with him throughout the whole thing.
But somewhere along the line, yeah, Rachel, does a lot of drugs, and she ends up with Frank, and then Mr. Jefferson, and it's like,
I don't know if she does a lot of drugs so much. Like, I got the impression he would just drug them during the sessions. I don't know.
No,
if
I'm
she's,
talking
like...
when she was with Frank, because I think
Oh.
is it Nathan? Someone somewhere suggests that Rachel's only with the Frank for the ease of drugs and for the access of drugs.
I didn't.
Yeah, it makes me feel even sadder for Chloe knowing that, because she does still talk. Like, she never talks about her in a way that would suggest that she would be like, that she would know that all this was going on behind her back. Meaning, like, to me, I think Chloe thought they were still in a relationship that entire time. Just the way she spoke of her. So then it kind of makes me like mad at Rachel even more, that she would manipulate this person that she claims to care about and claims to be like the only one who understands her and all of these things, but will go behind her back and sleep with Frank and like, whatever, do all this weird shit with Mr. Jefferson, which by the way is not a great idea.
No,
Mr. Jefferson didn't see that coming. I didn't.
No, I didn't either. I live streamed those episodes, and my face at the end of that reveal was like, oh, like I just like freaked out. I was like, what the fuck? That guy? That fucking guy?
Man,
Yep.
so many emotions going through me right now.
All of the shots.
So we still have to check out Farewell, which is the little mini episode with Max and Chloe, with the original voice actresses returning to reprise their roles. I would say we could probably also do a spoiler cast about that. I don't think it's going to be nearly as revelatory as clearly these 3 episodes have been.
That is juicy.
But any parting thoughts, ladies, on Life is Strange Before the Storm as a whole?
I do find it interesting that I think it's just something that we've kind of already stated, but to retroactively feel bad about a game I already played, like if that makes sense. Like I didn't care that much about Rachel in the first instance. Like it was a sad storyline, but you're like mostly sad just because the world is fucked up. And now you're like, oh, you've given me context in a way that it changes a thing that I played before, but also doesn't make me want to go back and play that thing. Like I'm fine with the way that it happened, but
yeah, I think Deck 9 did a real. I don't know how the development process went. I don't know if they talked with Don't-Nod. It's like, do you have story for this?
Yeah.
They did.
They
okay.
worked with
Well,
Don't-Nod.
they should have a phenomenal job, and this is by far has been like the most emotional game I've ever played, and it felt so visceral and so real for me because every character that you meet, I feel like I knew that person in high school.
Yeah.
So it really connected with me. It was just very well done.
I felt like the writing was really, really strong. Like I actually liked Before the Storm a lot better than the original Life is Strange.
Hella.
No, I thought the writing was really strong. I thought that they did a really good job making small, mundane things or normal things seem really impactful and really like I had a lot of anxiety playing this game, which means the decisions were tough. So, yeah.
Yeah, the relationships felt real. The decisions felt based and grounded in reality. I agree that it felt like it had a more natural flow overall than Life is Strange did. And I think that is also a testament to that they kept it to 3 episodes instead of trying to stretch out certain story points into 5 episodes. I think the original Life is Strange could have probably benefited from being 4 episodes maybe instead of 5. But overall, like, I named it as one of my top 10 games of 2017. Really excellently done. At this point, if you're still listening to us and you haven't played this game, I don't know what you're doing, but really excellent. And I can see myself playing through this again and picking different choices and seeing all the different cutscenes and the way that it played out. But it's rare that a video game makes you feel something so viscerally as Life is Strange did. And so for that, hats off to both Deck 9 and Square Enix for believing in this franchise, and for all the people out there who we met at PAX when we did our Life is Strange event at PAX West, who talked about how this series meant something to them. It was really great working with Square on this project, and I'm kind of sad to see it end. But the good news,
There's a sequel coming.
Life is Strange 2 is happening. We have no idea who's going to be in that game, but maybe we'll find out at E3 this year.
Oh boy.
Fingers crossed.
Video game.
Would you ladies, okay, quick question. So now that we played Before the Storm without any like supernatural elements, and we played Life is Strange with sort of supernatural elements, would you want Life is Strange 2 to have those or to not have those, or do you care?
I hope it doesn't have them because now they feel gimmicky now that I've played Before the Storm.
I feel like if they can tie it in narratively where it makes sense, like they did with Life is Strange, and have it not feel gimmicky, then I'm down. I'm into it. But
Yeah,
I don't need it.
yeah, they could do so. Like Before the Storm has supernatural elements to it, but they're just not playable. Like the fire, basically, it's more symbolic than
Sure.
anything. So I think just so long as they have some element, they can do whatever they want with it. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for hanging with us through this spoiler cast of Hell is Empty, episode 3 of Life is Strange. We will be back next week with more video game commentary, analysis, and hopefully Some funny stuff. Thanks so much for listening, everybody. We hope you have a fantastic weekend. If you would like, please reach out. Let us know your thoughts about the spoiler cast in the comments below. We love you all. Mwah.